Welcome to the Orange Hammer Podcast. My name is Corbett Storick. I've been a licensed general contractor for 8+ years, specializing in new construction, renovation, furniture building. I'm the son of an architect and an interior designer, and I've been surrounded in this industry since birth, watching all aspects from concept, design, build, punch list, and of course, all the problems that come up in between. In my time in Durham, North Carolina, I've noticed a significant gap in knowledge between homeowners who need work and the people who do the work. On this podcast, I hope to break down the process of homeownership from the perspective of both the homeowner and the contractor in an effort to help raise the knowledge of homeowners about their homes and the construction/renovation process. I hope you enjoy. If you're enjoying the Orange Hammer Podcast, or if you have a topic that you want covered, or have recently done a project, please contact the Orange Hammer Podcast. The Orange Hammer Podcast is on Instagram and Facebook. Please like and subscribe, share on whatever platform you're enjoying your podcast on. Also, check out our YouTube channel, The Orange Hammer. The Orange Hammer Podcast is proud to be brought to you by CRS Contracting LLC for all your construction and handyman needs, new buildings to renovations, furniture building, EV charger install, or even a TV mounted. You can call me, Corbett Storick. It'd be my pleasure to help you. You can find me on Instagram at CRS Contracting. WSDG, the Walter Storick Design Group, specialists in architectural and acoustical consulting. Check out WSDG.com. And Taylor Bragg, for all your artistic needs in all mediums. You can find her on Instagram at brag_about_art. That's brag, BRGG, with 2 G's. She's the fantastic artist behind the Orange Hammer logo, and she did my fantastic table painting of my podcasting table. The Orange Hammer Podcast is proud to be brought to you by Stacy Sloan with Keller Williams Elite Realty, proudly serving the Durham and Triangle area for 25 years. Call Stacy at 919-972-1180. The Orange Hammer Podcast is proud to be brought to you by Rachel Z with Rachel Z Real Estate Team Realty. From the Triangle to the Triad, call Rachel Z at 919-323-6068. All right, we are recording here. We're doing a very special Zoom podcast. Real quick, where are you located right now?
The great city of Des Moines, Iowa, baby. We're full. Nobody live here. Nobody move here. We can't take any more. Don't raise housing prices. We're full.
Okay, so the opposite of the Austin, Texas movement. Stay away. Got it. Okay. So here we are today. It's a very special podcast for me because you don't get a lot of people at my level who are, reaching out to be on the show. Like, let's just be honest. Drew here reached out to me and said, "Hey, I saw my client, Anthony Zuber of Point Electric, on your show, and do you want to have me on the show?" And I said, "I'll have anybody who wants to waste an afternoon on my show." Well, it's 10:30 in the morning, but nobody knows that. And it actually seemed both goofy and incredibly valuable because you're a tax advisor. You're actually Anthony's tax advisor or accountant or both, I guess. We were detailing, it's you and your brother JT who run the company, PNT.
Yep, that's right. PNT Advisors.
PNT
my brother
Advisors.
JT is a CPA. We have an EA as well. That's one of our partners. Shout out Josh. Or as he likes to call himself, Joshua. We call him Josh. And
what was the acronym you used for him?
I call him Josh.
No. His title?
Oh, he's an EA. Oh, great question.
Okay. What's an EA?
Yeah. Great question, Corbett. It's basically a diet CPA.
Okay.
It's a good way to look at it, yeah. Main difference, I would say CPAs are generally have more like accounting experience, like working with business owners. EAs, generally, it's a lot more like tax with the IRS. That's really the only difference. But usually you have accounting degrees, you take all the same tests. Kind of like, I guess I don't know if doctors would like this analogy, but are you a nurse or a doctor? Probably not far off from either. It's kind of like that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I would imagine, so first of all, I've never heard of that before. I would imagine though that that's more of an asset than not. I mean, you
Oh,
have
absolutely.
obviously your standard accounting practices, but then you have a specialist who's like, if you were to get audited, I would be the one dealing with the IRS. So let's make sure you're not going to get audited, and let's do it, at least 5% maybe more conservative than somebody else, just to make sure that we're always not setting off any flags with the IRS. Because I don't know, as a
So
business owner, that's probably my biggest fear.
yeah, and that makes sense. A lot of people when they go into owning their own business, right? We work with a lot of like home services business, electricians, general contractors, like cleaning companies. And you're right. One of the big things that they ask us about is how do I not pay a lot in taxes and how do I make sure like I do it right and not get audited? And that's one thing that we focus on. And that's why for us, kind of like you said, we like to do everything in house. That's kind of where at least most of our clients get the most benefit because I can tell you, oh, open up QuickBooks, Corbett, and make sure to do this. And you're going to be like, I don't know what that means. So we like to do it for you. And so, yeah, when it comes to either like the tax side, the accounting side, uh, we pretty much do all of it. And that's the goal. At the end of the day, hopefully you pay less in taxes than you did before you met us. And of course, we do your returns as we have plenty of people on staff to do that. So, yeah, it's pretty fun working with business owners. I actually really like working with more, I guess, blue collar is the way I would see it. I don't know if that's still an acceptable term. How would you
I
take
think
that? Yeah,
so.
right?
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
It doesn't affect me at all. I don't wear any collars, but
What I jokingly, what I would say is manly man jobs that I cannot do. I think I used a screwdriver once. I think that's what it's called. I have no idea.
to take
I
apart
can,
the back of your computer to replace. No, I'm just kidding.
not me. I just paid somebody to do it. How about that? I watched them from afar. But yeah, so the one thing with I think a lot of home service companies and business owners is you're out at somebody's home rewiring something, pulling something out of the wall, building something. You're not sitting in front of a computer. That's what we do. So when it comes to whether it's your bookkeeping, your payroll, your tax returns, most people enjoy that. They just kind of sign into our portal, they send us a message about whatever, and then we take care of the rest.
You're doing
And
bookkeeping as well.
yep, we do
Okay.
that in house. Yeah, we do bookkeeping. We do great question. We do sales tax for some people. Actually, we've started to learn certain states. It's easier to do sales tax. It's harder to do sales tax. It's easier to do S corps or not. We just kind of learned these things over the years. And so yeah, any time we're talking to somebody, actually, before we even get on like Zoom with people and talk about we actually ask them to send us their tax returns, their previous ones, and their P&L and their balance sheet. Right? Imagine if you went into a mechanic and said, "Let me describe the sound over the car." They'd be like, "No, bring your car in. Like I need to look under the hood." I see you shaking your head. Exactly. So that's the way that we like to approach it before we even start working with people, and then when we do, yeah, we try and do everything from your returns to your books. Also, hopefully helping you pay as little in taxes as possible. So yeah, we try and do everything. And I'm sure as we talk more, we'll go over all the fun stuff like putting your kids on payroll and the Augusta rule. I'm sure plenty of people listening have heard about that on YouTube or something. So yeah, ask away. I'm an open book, and hopefully I can, help you guys learn a little bit about some taxes and some things that'll help you. Also, at the end of today's show, we'll tease it now. We also have a giveaway for all the listeners of the Orange Hammer podcast. And the reason I think it's going to really benefit people, have you been through this, Corbett? Come January time, you got to collect 1099 info, and it is a nightmare. It is a scramble. Wait, I need this guy's note. Oh, no, that's not the right address. Wait, I need him to fill out this form. Have you ever had to go through that in January?
Yeah, it's a little more relaxed for me because if like they don't get it back to me, I'm just like, okay, well, I'm still reporting all the things I did, and if you're screwing up, then it's, my roofer's problem, not mine.
And that's a very good point. That's true. As you as a business owner, right, it's on you to send it out. And if they don't respond, what are you going to do? Plus, like you said, you're still responsible for reporting everything. Doesn't matter if somebody else doesn't report it. So you're on the ball. What I will tell you is us just being tax and accounting people, We're a little more like, no, we got to get it, you know what I mean? Which makes sense.
Yeah.
For you, you're like, I don't care, man. Like,
Yeah,
I
I
feel
mean,
you.
I'm reporting the income, I'm
Yeah.
writing off the materials, I'm doing the pass through for my labor. So if they screw up their 1099 or don't call me to get it
Yeah.
in time, then like, okay, whatever. Like I'd
Yep.
still Uncle Sam's getting everything from me. So
That that is the
like
truth.
yeah.
Or
So
at least we try and stop that. But
well,
yeah,
there's
so
no real stopping it. You can just mitigate it, but
yeah, we'll go over a
yeah.
few ways today. And
So
then yeah, so at the end, I'll give you guys a link and everything for people. They sign up, they'll download it, and there's like a W-9 form. There's a direct deposit form for like paying contractors or getting paid yourself as well. And there are a few other things in there. So yeah, we'll have that out for everybody. It's all free. It's the same one we use like with our clients and have them give out to their contractors and everybody. Yeah. So we'll have that at the end. It sounded like you were going to ask me a question. Yeah, hit me with it.
yeah, well, so right off the bat, I was curious. My accountant lives 30 minutes from me. You're in a different state,
Mhm.
and laws vary state by state. So I guess from a federal tax perspective, nothing really changed. But you not being in North Carolina, familiar with North Carolina tax law, what challenges does that, I guess, what challenges are involved with that?
Not many.
Okay.
Good question though. So, yes, at least for us, I can't speak on any other firms. For us, we're licensed to practice in all 50 states, and I would say actually 99% of our clients are virtual. We have a handful here, like in Des Moines, that they actually come into the office and we meet. But yeah, most are online. Actually, one fun thing we do is whenever we go to a conference or travel for something, if it's in a city, like let's say we were going to, like Raleigh or Charlotte, like we would call all of our North Carolina clients and be like, hey, we're going to be in town these days. Let's meet, let's go out to dinner and, actually like meet in person, which I think nowadays, Zoom is great. I love the abilities of the internet and everything it's done. At the same time, I think meeting in person goes so much farther nowadays than it ever did.
I won't have a not local person. Like you're
Yeah,
probably amazing. It has nothing to do with you,
we
but
are.
like
We are. Thank you.
I'm sure you are. Yeah. I mean, Anthony's incredible. So by extension, I would assume everybody he's got on his team is amazing. But like I had a financial advisor who was in South Carolina. He's not even that, he's not one state away. I mean, we could drive 5 hours. And it was just like, you know what? I want my financial advisor to be 15 minutes away.
Sure.
And it just to be honest, it's the same Roth. Like nothing.
Yeah,
and
that's
and we're,
true.
and we're talking about a small enough amount that it's the same, like not daily looking at it, no matter who I have, because I'm not in the millions of dollars. I'm in the like,
Not yet.
okay,
Not yet.
no, not yet. But that's not the point. The point I'm trying to make is like the work that every financial advisor would do for me in this one particular instance is identical, no matter where they are. It could be somebody in Alaska and it would be the exact same fucking work. But I felt better that he was 20 minutes away. And if
Yeah.
demand is the wrong word, but if I really insisted that we need to go to Starbucks and get a coffee so I can look into your eyes and ask you what the hell is going on, that we can do that. Or he'd be like,
Yeah.
yeah, my office, come by anytime, or I'll be at your house. We've also become friends. That's a completely different conversation.
Sure. Sure.
But and then next thing you know, 4 months ago, we started an LLC together. So it's just like, you never know where stuff happens, but that's a completely different side to the point I'm trying to make that like even my accountant, she's 2 cities away from Durham to Apex, 25 minutes. I can
Mhm.
be there once a year. We have the same, like, not even really important talk, and I hand her a folder. And then she calls me for a phone call basically to get miles because I don't write it down. And I have to kind of like look at papers and be like, okay, well, I got it serviced and it had this many. And then a year later, I got it serviced and I had this many. So we do the math there. And those are
Yeah.
all construction miles. And then the car has this, 40%. And we're like, pulling it out of fucking thin air, kind of, but it's at
I,
least quasi
I
intelligent.
wouldn't say that to the IRS that you pulled it out of thin air. I wouldn't say
No, no,
that.
no, no, no.
But I get what you mean, though. I get what you mean. Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
actually,
on the
here,
spot calculation, we're like, okay, we gotta do this math that like instead of this like
yeah.
log app or whatever. Yeah.
Well, actually, that's what I was just going to suggest. Is so that's what we do is for ourselves and then all of our clients is we use the map aisle or the app Mile IQ because it tracks everything and you can split it. Like oh, this one's personal, that one's business, and then at the end of the year you just print out one report. What I would say is it, like anything, it's whatever works best for you.
Yeah.
Right. So if you like having your accountant and your financial advisor close by, then keep it. Like, absolutely. Because you have to be one of the biggest things, right, with money and taxes and accounting is you have to have trust. That is for damn sure. And
That's across the board in
yeah,
every field. I mean, the difference between, and I say this with 100% respect, the difference between you and my accountant is not much. You guys have basically the same tools, basically the same toolbox, and you have the
yeah,
same goals of, within an umbrella, obviously. But I make that point to make the point that Anthony is not a lot different than the three other electricians in my phone, and I'm not different than the 100 other contractors out there. The difference is the trust built with the client that calls.
yeah,
I might do it slightly different, just like you might do it slightly different than my accountant. But, under this umbrella, we're all, inside the umbrella of accounting.
yeah,
You might go a little left, they might go a little right, or whatever, pick the analogy, but it's generally a similar tool and toolbox. And it's really about like, okay, I feel
yeah.
the most comfortable with this person. I like their strategy. I like their vibe. And you got to make sure that those things are just as important as
Oh
being
yeah.
competent.
And I agree with all that. What I would say also is, have you seen the movie Top Gun Maverick? Like, are you a fan of
Yes.
it? It's
Yes.
not the plane, it's the pilot.
This is
So
true.
yes, we all have the same tools. It's not QuickBooks, it's the CPA.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so like I'll give you an example. You look fairly young, kind of like myself. I'm
I'm
sure you're 20.
33.
Bang, spot on. I just turned 23 this year.
I
I did
said
in
I'm
April.
33.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I turned 33 this year.
Oh, you said 23. That's why I
Oh,
was
I'm
like,
sorry.
what?
33. I'm sorry. No, I turned 33 this year. Sorry, I said that wrong then. Yes, in April. So yeah.
I'm in
So
March, so we're the same age. Yeah.
I think we're the same person. This is all
Yeah.
AI. This is not a real podcast, guys. This is all AI. Uh, do you have kids? Are you married?
I do not. No, I got a dog.
Okay. Well, uh, I'm not gonna be one of those people. Oh, you can write off your dog. Like, probably not for what you do.
I will never be entering the
Yeah.
write-off dependence
Yeah.
situation because I'm not having children, but
Okay. Fair enough.
continue with your children talk. A lot of people have them and a lot of people want them.
So yeah,
So,
having a dog, it's just like having kids. I'm sure every parent right now is fuming.
oh yeah, just as hard and just as emotionally rewarding. Yep,
Duh.
100%. Yeah, let's
Yeah,
piss
that's
off
right.
everybody today. Yeah.
So
Should we talk Yankee baseball and just alienate everybody? I mean, let's go.
absolutely not. Let's
Yeah.
talk Dodgers. So
All right. And this was a great podcast. It's over. Yeah. I will say that Otani situation is very
man,
interesting.
you know what? Wait, okay, wait. Since you brought that up, we were talking about this. Okay, as a tax and accounting person, I'm gonna tell you why something doesn't add up. So
I'm not
first
a
of all,
tax and accounting person, and something doesn't add up.
well, let me tell you, I
Yeah.
don't even know. I don't even have to know the guy, and I'll tell you. I'm sure you can tell him. Like, here we go. Like, I'm on. Yeah. So, okay, here's the problem with this. So, first of all, Shohei Ohtani, right? His first however many years in Major League Baseball, right? He was making not a lot of money. Not it was like maybe 40 million over the past first few years, whatever it was. Not only that, that's a W-2 employee as a major leaguer, which means 20 of that is going to taxes. Then he's got to pay his agent. Then he's got to pay insurance. And agent fees, by the way, are not deductible. I don't know if you know this. Yeah, agent fees for athletes are not deductible because you're an employee. You're not a business owner. You can't deduct shit. You're an employee. So, like, what are you deducting? Yeah, they used to be. They actually changed that.
Oh
So
wow. I didn't even when you say that out loud, it makes sense
yeah.
because I guess like all these guys start foundations and stuff
Ah,
so that they can have all that tax write-off, but that's unrelated to their baseball just being
correct.
paid like you're the bat
So
boy.
exactly. So their wages as a player is just regular W-2, like when I worked at Macy's in college, like same thing. Now, all their sponsorship and endorsement money, that does not go generally, is not W-2 wages, right? That gets paid to your business. Well, let's say the Shohei Ohtani business, right? I'm just
So
LLC, just
like
making
so
it up.
like let's just make it up. Let's just completely make it up. So like Nike pays Otani Corporate LLC or whatever.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
he made up a
Yeah,
some,
yeah, yeah.
Shohei Otani Ltd or whatever.
Yeah, whatever their business, just like you have an LLC, like you mentioned earlier. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay.
For Nike or whatever sponsors, generally, yeah, they pay the business, not the athlete personally. Well, that business has an accountant of some sort, and so remember, his player wages is already half gone because of his because of taxes, right? Just anybody who has a job, money comes out. That's half gone. Then he's got to pay his attorneys, his agents, his everybody, his life on whatever's left. And then apparently $400 million or 40 million, whatever it was. I think it was 40, not 400.
So much
was
money.
bet.
Yeah.
It's like he literally couldn't even have that. Just the numbers don't add up. Plus, if the money was coming out of the business account from all of his sponsorships, there's an accountant who should have been like, whoa, 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 $500,000. The hell was that? Like, I mean, we do that with our clients. Our rule is 5,000. His is he just 500,000 out the door. Just the accountant covers his eyes. I didn't see it. Office expenses. Get the fuck out of here. So like, how did nobody? And I'm sure somebody's. Oh, well, it was his personal account that the money was coming. But that meant the money went from Nike or whoever to his to his business account, then to his personal. Just hundreds of millions. Like, there's no way. Like, somebody had to have either just blatantly not looked at the books, or they approved it. Like, there's no way that he doesn't know. Like, there's no way. Now, I don't know what the real answer is, and I could go off on some wild theories and tangents, but yeah, from a tax and accounting perspective, it makes no sense.
Oh, I report
that
to
happened.
nobody. I'll tell you what the answer is. He's a gambler.
Well, maybe.
What are we talking about? Yeah. Oh, okay. Go, Otani, come after me. I got nothing to lose, and it's all protected. So let's go. You're a gambler, and guess what? I don't care at all. You're one of the most amazing players to ever set on the field, and I hope it continues to. I hope he continues to play. I will say this though: when you're the Dodgers and you're paying that kind of money for that kind of player, you basically have set a New York Yankee style standard of championship or complete bust. It's like you're LeBron and the Lakers. If you don't win it all, everybody thinks you're now a loser. There's no we went to game 7 in the ALCS. Nobody cares. You have to win the whole thing, and you have to, on that note, you have to dominate the whole thing. You need to like win 5-1 in the World Series. Like, it needs to be a blowout for that, in my opinion, when you're spending that
Not
kind
only
of money.
that, to double down, it's Otani and then Yamamoto that they got as well, who's on another 300 million, plus Betts and
Yeah.
Freeman and everything. Because think about it.
Oh my God, I forgot about Freeman. Oh my God.
2017 till now, I think the Dodgers have been to the World Series, what, 3 times, 4 times? So they've only won once. I think they've been to the LCS like 7 or 8 times, whatever it's been. Yeah, like how much? Like Dave Roberts as the manager. Somebody asked me recently, like, "Oh, do you think he's ever going to get fired?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, eventually." But like, what better could he do? Like, he's literally gotten to Game 7 in the World Series against the Astros. They won one against the Rays in 2020. They get to the LCS every year, or damn near every year, except for Clayton Kershaw, who sucks in October. I'm a very big Dodgers fan, as you can tell. I grew up in LA. So that's why
Hey
I
man,
can go on these
I
tangents.
I live and die by Yankee baseball and Ranger hockey. So right now I'm riding a high as the Rangers are in the conference final and the Yankees are in first place.
Are you
So
originally from New York?
yeah, I'm from upstate New York.
Okay, I didn't know
Yeah.
that. One of my
So
favorite.
is your client Anthony, by the
Yeah.
way.
So I never knew if he was from there or if he just like moved there. I never really knew. I'm just like,
The
oh, he's from North Carolina.
the 845 that we share that area code. That's our area code of upstate New York.
Oh, I
Yeah.
guess I never put that together. Okay.
Yeah. Well, now you have his number saved, so it just says Anthony. So it's not like you see it every time. People get a cold call from me and they just let it go to voicemail thinking I'm spam, and then they listen to the voicemail and they're like, "Oh, that's the guy I emailed who's calling me back," but didn't recognize an 845 number. Down here it's 919, and people in the beginning were like, "You need to get a business line. You need a 919 number," and I'm like, "No, I don't. Everybody's from everywhere. This is ridiculous. This is not 15 years ago where that matters. Like, you're gonna go click the call now button on a website and it's not even going to show up. It's just going to start ringing.
I bet
like,
you're just old enough to remember. How old did you get your first cell phone?
Younger than most.
Like 13?
Oh yeah, somewhere like there. I
Because
think I
I'm
had one in
betting.
7th grade, so that's younger. It's
I think
like
that's like I
11.
don't have kids either, so I have no idea.
Yeah.
But
Well, 14 is about freshman in high school is about 14.
oh
So
yeah,
you
that
start
sounds right.
deducting from there. And I want to say I was about 11 because I remember my parents run their own company. They're
Oh,
entrepreneurs
nice.
as well. And I remember one day, one of the project managers, Romina, she was just like handed a new company phone and they literally just like took her old phone and handed it to me. And they were like, this is now Corbett's phone. This is now
Yeah.
your number. It'll be your number forever. It still is. And so it was just like one of those things where it was like, this is now like an extra phone that is literally paid, like the line is paid for. It's on
Mhm.
Verizon, it's whatever, whatever, whatever. And my mom was like, here, this is for emergencies. Like, if I call you, pick up. If you're stranded, pick up, because it's like, get a ride from school with one of five people's parents to like the Friday after school tennis club. And we'd play tennis for like 2 hours,
Yep.
like a group lesson. And then, like, I don't know, my dad would forget to pick me up and I'd have to be like, hey, do I need a ride home with Mimi or am I calling a cab? And they'd be like, oh shit, call a cab. So it was definitely younger. It was before flip phones. I had a brick.
So then you're old enough, I bet, and remember you had to wait until like 8 or 9 o'clock at night to call people when it was free minutes, right?
No,
Really?
that's right after me, or it was I didn't use it enough that I went over any threshold. But I
Okay.
but I do remember texts cost money
Yep.
and I got in trouble for texting too much because it was like, these are 3 cents. You've texting all day. And then I do remember it becoming unlimited minutes. I do remember unlimited texting became a thing. Now, obviously, it's like it's all iMessage. So there's
Yep.
no limits. Now it's all they just changed it to like, well, now you gotta pay 99 cents for iCloud storage. And it's like, psh, it's not even a cloud, you liars. It's a factory in Iowa.
Probably.
It is.
No,
I
no, no.
I
We're,
actually
we're,
know
we're
it
close.
is.
We're close.
There's
We're
a
not
there's
taking
a
anymore.
you're not, but there's a server room that doesn't need employees. Yeah,
Yeah, I think
it's
Amazon
ridiculous.
just built like two massive factories,
Yeah,
or the distribution centers, whatever they're called, to
yeah,
like
they're
send
building one
stuff out.
here.
Yeah, I believe
Yeah,
it.
they're building one here, and apparently, I saw that construction like got halted, but apparently Apple's building some massive campus like 2 towns away.
Oh,
They bought
whoa,
like
okay.
hundreds of acres of woods to create like the new, crazy Apple headquarter or
Gigafactory or whatever they're called. Yeah.
I don't know. I think gigafactories are Tesla, but
Oh, okay.
I'm
I
a I'm a I'm a fanboy of
I
the
drive
Tesla.
I drive an '06 Civic. It's vintage. Got the original hubcaps on there. It has buttons for the windows though. It's not a roller. I'll tell you that.
Is it 20 or 25 years you get antique plates?
That's a great question. I have no
Because if it's
idea.
20, you're around the corner.
Oh yeah, it's got to be longer than that because my brother's car is over 20 years old and he does not have that. So it's got to be
Okay.
more than 20.
Then I
Yeah.
think it's 25.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's good to know. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so at 25 you can get antique plates and then you no longer have to get inspections.
Interesting.
Yeah. I know this because my brother has a an 87 or 88, I can't remember, Dodge Dakota convertible pickup truck.
Wow.
It's a soft top. You just go like click, click,
Yeah.
and push it down. It's bench seat. And so like when it's down, it's just truck bed, roll
And then
bar,
the glass.
glass
Yeah.
hood. And
Oh, whoa.
he was born in 88, and I'm pretty sure that's why it's an 88. I think his dad bought it. His dad bought it when he was born, and then like they made a deal and he inherited it like in high school, and it still like kind of works and kind of runs. It's like his farm truck or whatever. And he's like, yeah, I can get antique plates, and then I don't have to worry about like the smog test for this like 88 engine. I'm like,
It's not a bad
do it,
idea.
do it, do it.
Not a bad idea.
I drive a 21 Tesla 3, so we're on different levels here. I don't, yeah.
Yeah.
Antique plates are not in my future.
Yep. Probably not anytime soon for you. I
No,
feel you.
it will definitely have a worldwide EMP that makes my car useless before there's a need for antique plates.
One thing I will tell you. So this probably isn't gonna happen for you. Maybe somebody listening. Have you ever seen those YouTube videos of like, oh, you want to bring your taxes down? Make sure to buy a car over 6,000 pounds. Have you ever seen those?
I haven't seen those, but that was actually on my list of
Oh
things
yeah.
to ask because tax code 172B, I believe, or 173A, I can't remember, it's somewhere around there, but it is 6,000 plus pound cars you can write off. I think it's, you would know, but I think it's 98 or even 100% of the car. The only reason I care about this is because I'm a Cybertruck reservation holder and it is
Oh
over
wow.
6,000 pounds.
It is. Yes.
And that's, as a business owner, um, it's irrelevant because I don't have the $94,000 that they're charging for that truck. I got the email last night that it was my turn to get it. And I was
How
like, I was
lucky you
like,
are to give them more money.
I was like, oh, sweet. I thought it was going to be 2 years before my name gets called. Turns out it's not. It's now. And turns out I don't have $94,000 for that truck. I'm waiting
Yeah.
for the half price version, just like I didn't buy the S, I got the 3.
Yep.
Um, but I'm pretty sure the weight will still be over 6,000. So for me and listeners, how does that work tax wise?
Yeah, great question. And especially, right, a lot of people you've probably met and work with, they have like trucks or they have like an SUV to like haul everything, like of course, or maybe a van. So the way it works, the first thing I'm going to tell you and everybody is don't go buy a 6,000 pound truck or bigger for taxes. Buy it because you need it for your business. Like that's the
Yeah,
biggest thing.
that's a given. Sure. Yeah.
Because this is the problem that we've seen a lot is somebody watches a video on YouTube. Oh, okay, I'm gonna get the Tesla Cybertruck, or I'm gonna get a new uh, uh, Cadillac Escalade. Like, okay, cool. And then after a few months, they have like a $500 or $1,000 car payment that they really don't want. So that's usually what happens. So yes, it definitely can bring your taxes down. I'll give you an example. We have one. He's a real estate investor. He's in San Diego. It all works the same. Doesn't matter where you are. Um, and before he started working with us, we got a copy of his last returns. And one of the partners here, JT, we referenced him earlier. He asked him. He goes, "Hey, like, you got to have like a truck or something. Like, what are you driving to the job site?" And he goes, "Yeah, I have like a GMC whatever." And he goes, "It's not on your tax return." And the at the time he was a potential client. Now he's a client. He was like, "What do you mean it's not on there? Like, I gave everything to my guy." And like he had, I think it was 2 trucks at the time. Neither of them were listed on his business. And like they're work only trucks. And so yeah, it definitely can help bring your taxes down a lot with depreciation and whatnot. Basically, what I would say is kind of like anything, only spend the money because you have to for your taxes. And right now, yes, there's bonus depreciation. So basically, right, the way it works is, let's say you buy a truck for $50,000. You don't get to take all 50,000 in deductions this year. It's 5 this year, 5 the next, 5 like it. I don't remember the exact ratio, but it's done over time. It's not all in one hit. And
So you're
with a
saying if I bought $100,000 Cybertruck, I could deduct like 10K the next 10 years?
Yes, and again, I don't remember what the exact numbers are, but yes, it's broken up over years. That's what depreciation is. So you're not taking it all right now. What you're talking about, or the code section from the IRS that you mentioned earlier, everyone knows, oh, 6,000 pounds. If it's over that, you can use what's called accelerated depreciation. Basically, you can write off more of it. So instead of only the 10,000, maybe it's 60,000 or 80,000, right, to bring your taxes down.
But also
So
the over 6,000, at least as far as I understand, because you can write off a vehicle under 6,000,
sure,
but
absolutely,
you don't get to write it all off. Whereas
exactly.
over 6,000, you get to actually write off the whole thing.
Uh, you can. Like every situation's always different. That's one thing I'll say, right? Because if you bought it 2 years ago, well, no, the depreciation's gone, right? So it just depends. But yes, if it's over 6,000 pounds, the IRS basically says like clearly that's a work vehicle, or most likely. So that's why they allow you. That's the thing. As a business owner, you actually get to determine how much taxes you pay. It may not feel like it, but you do, right? As a W-2 employee, just you get your check, money's gone. Like, see you later, nothing you can do. But as a business owner, you get to determine how much money you make, right? Revenue, like you sell more or not. And then at the end of the day, taxes, it's okay, how much did you spend on stuff? And as long as your purchase is ordinary, necessary, and reasonable, those are the words the IRS uses for your business, then absolutely. it's going to help you, right? So as a construction company, let's say, pretty tough to write off a motorcycle. Not sure how that's business, but
It's absolutely not. Yeah.
exactly, but a 10,000 pound, truck that's going to haul stuff back and forth, like from Home Depot and Lowe's. Yeah, that is definitely a work vehicle.
Oh yeah, I could.
So
The IRS would have absolutely nothing to say if I
exactly.
sold my Ford. I drive a elongated F-150
Hmm.
that probably is over 6,000 pounds, but I didn't know about this law and I bought it in cash for my personal. I didn't even put it under my business because I just, it was years ago and I had gotten in an accident and gotten an insurance check and needed a truck.
Yeah.
Anyway, but now the company is like very much legit and in its, several years and successful and fireworks. This is my most successful year and we're only
Good.
in
Hell yeah.
May. So, I'm not successful enough that we're buying Cybertrucks, but it is an interesting idea to at least be like, okay, well, I pay like 7 G's in
Yeah.
taxes, so I could pay no taxes for the next 10 years. I still would have to shit out $93,000 in cash.
And that's the thing is,
Yeah.
right? All all this, fun like tax strategy stuff, the home office, the this, that, like it also costs money to bring
Yeah.
down your
Yeah.
taxes. So yeah, like you said, so that's why I always tell people, especially with like trucks or cars for business, absolutely, it can benefit you. Accelerate the hell out of the depreciation if you can. At the same time, don't go buy a 6,000 pound vehicle just or for taxes.
Yeah.
Like you said, you got to shell out the money. You got the monthly payment. Like
It's like what
that's for damn
people
sure.
have this conversation with me all the time with wrapping their vehicle. And I'm like, like Anthony, for example, he has a work van. It's
Mhm.
beautiful. His wrap job is stunning, right? But the difference between Anthony and I is like that's his work van, and
Mhm.
he doesn't take his girlfriend out to dinner in that. You know, I use my truck sometimes, not just for work. I started off as just one dude with a pickup truck,
Yeah.
and when I go out to dinner, we're in the truck. When I go to work, I'm in the truck. Like now I have two vehicles, but I still take that truck kayaking. So like
Yeah.
to say it's a work truck would not be correct. It's my truck. I use it for work, and that's why I'm on the miles side instead of just the whole
Yep.
truck just gets written
I'm
off that way.
I'm glad you said that because you'd be
No,
surprised how many people think, "Oh, I want to write off my personal car 100%." No.
it's not how that
Like
works
you
at
said, it's
all.
not. Like you just told me that you drive with, out to the kayaking. Our clients, "Oh, do you go to the grocery store?" "Yeah, of course." You think you're going to
No,
win an IRS audit? Like
no, no,
you
no,
can't
no.
you can't even
Yeah.
keep that secret from me.
Yeah,
Oh.
right off the lunch you bought at the grocery store, but you can't just write off that whole vehicle. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm doing miles because I
Yeah.
get to look at my truck and go, okay, we went kayaking 3 times. That means deduct 4 miles because that's how close it is. Everything else was work. And then I get to look at my Tesla and I get to go, okay, half of it is now for work because I'm now doing all bids and meetings in the Tesla because it's
Yeah.
more efficient and I have solar panels. And then the other half of the Tesla is just personal, whatever.
So
Yeah.
actually, here's a question for you. So when you drive up, like if you're going to make a bid on a place and you
Mhm.
drive up in a Tesla versus the Ford, do people talk to you or maybe treat you differently? And what I mean is, like as a truck, oh, he's one of us. If it's a Tesla, oh, who's this dude in his Tesla? You know what I mean? Does that happen? I'm asking. I don't
So
know.
it probably does. Um, I have a lot of customers ask me about the car because they love it.
They
Mine
want to
has
get one
like
too, I bet.
Yeah. Oh, totally. I went to a customer last month. He had a Rivian R1T pickup truck. So we're both just gawking at each other's vehicles. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my God. And he's like, oh, look at that. And I'm like, mine also has like one of a kind orange chrome delete and orange brake calipers. And,
On brand, baby.
oh
On
yeah,
brand.
100%. Yeah.
Love it.
And it's a one of one. I've seen full orange, but I have yet to actually ever see another one that's just the window chrome delete orange.
Mhm.
Anyway, I'm a fan of my vehicle. um, but I kind of look at it this way that like, you know, similar to what we said before, I do the same thing as every other contract. I do the same thing as every other honest contractor.
Okay, tell me.
So just in the service that I provide. And so if, you see my Tesla and the back of your throat gets dry and scratchy, and you go, this dude's ripping me off because he drives a Tesla, then don't hire me. I'm not the guy for you, you know. And I don't get every bid. I don't think anybody does, you know.
I would
And
hope not.
yeah, and I've just come to accept that. And you know, I've had people not hire me for prejudices that are not even accurate. Like the fact that I love orange has rubbed somebody the wrong way. That's a true story. I had
I thought the
somebody
New Yorker
literally.
part was gonna be first. I thought for
So,
sure that was gonna be
you
there.
know, the New Yorker part affects some people, and then
Yeah.
some other people are like, "Oh, you're the blunt, honest guy we're waiting for. We don't need a Southerner to church it. We need somebody to tell us this is freaking rotten." And I'm like, "I've got no skin in the game. It's rotten. Yeah, this is what it costs to fix, and I don't do it for cheaper because I need to make money. Sorry, like." This is the breakdown. Here's the profit margin. Like, yes, I make the profit margin. Guess what? I don't do this for fun. I do this because it's a job.
Well,
It happens to be fun, but it's a job.
you're
I've got bills.
providing a service that they
Yeah.
need
Yeah.
or that they want as well. You know,
Totally.
somebody asked me recently, same thing, like we don't really like negotiate on prices. She was like, "Oh, well, how come like it's that much? You know, we only make X in revenue." I said, "Well, that's doesn't matter. Like that's not we don't do it
Yeah.
based on your revenue. It's like this is the services that we offer.
Mhm.
This is what you need based on our conversation and based on your books. Like this is what we can offer you." Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't
Same
matter
with
if you,
my
yeah,
accountant. They're the same price. It doesn't matter that I'm
yeah.
having a good year. They're like, it's like $600 to do your taxes. I'm like, cool. Here's send me the QuickBooks bill.
Wow,
Like,
I'll tell you this,
yeah.
we would charge you a lot more than that. Oh yeah,
Well, I'm
especially
not
for personal
switching.
business. Well, you know what I would say? That's smart because it sounds like we may not fit. No, I agree with you 100% because I mean I told you earlier if you have somebody, not just you, Corbett, but anybody, like, and we've told people that they'll come to us, they already have a bookkeeper independently, and we say, cool, you like them, and we're like, we look, they're doing a good enough job, keep them. We can do just the tax side,
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah, and that's the biggest thing. Our goal when people come to us, we want to make it as easy as possible.
Oh, they don't do
As
my bookkeeping to make that price make more
oh, okay,
sense. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
They just file my taxes. Like that's
Oh,
it.
gotcha.
They
Sure,
just
sure.
file. I do everything just like on a Google Doc, and then I send it to them. We have one
Okay.
phone call about miles and clarification, and then they do it. And yeah, so they're not doing that much, but
Okay.
still, it's she does my
It's
brother's taxes. She does my
it's one of the
family's
most
LLC
important things.
taxes.
It's the paperwork that puts you in jail or keeps you out.
Yeah,
It's pretty
yeah.
important,
I
unfortunately.
I may be manly on a construction site, but I would not survive in jail. So I'm very much Trish is doing the Lord's work. If you believe in the Lord, she's doing it, and I'm
I'll t-
happy to have her do it for me.
I share that with you. I mean, look at my bubbly smile. I'd be somebody's bitch within 30 seconds. Yeah, I wouldn't. Hell no. You know, honestly, you know what? I would just walk in. All right, who's first? I know my role. Like I just, I'm
I'd be
just
like,
trying to
is there a
survive
wood
this.
shop I can go hide
Yeah.
in? Yeah. I will make everybody something cool. Just fuck off.
It's like Shawshank. I'll do your taxes. Just leave me
Oh my
alone.
God. Yeah. You literally, you're Andy Dufresne. You'd be Andy Dufresne in 4 seconds. Oh my God. What a great reference. Wow. Oh, that fits like way better than possible. Yeah. But it's the first advice I give to every person who wants to copy my career or even just get into the small business world. My first advice is delegate to an accountant. Don't
Yeah.
try to do your own taxes. Like if you work for the man and you get a paycheck, go to H&R Block. It's easy. Do it online yourself. It's not hard. If you have one paycheck and they're already taking your taxes and you just got to file, like this is not complicated. When you're doing small business stuff, it's ungodly complicated. There's loopholes you have no idea about. And obviously, getting that benefit of those loopholes is incredible. But way more importantly, you don't want to make a mistake that is really going to hurt you. And the worst case be like an honest mistake. And then all of a sudden you have like hundreds of thousands of dollars of back taxes and
Oh
fines
yeah.
from the IRS. I mean, this is not just from Breaking Bad. This is real life. Like people make mistakes all the time. Honest, legitimate mistakes, not criminals. The
Oh
criminals are
yeah.
another conversation that we don't really need to get into. But People make honest mistakes all the time. I make honest mistakes on the
Oh
job
yeah.
site. And the difference between me and some other contractors is you're going to get a call 11 seconds later and go, yo, we screwed up. This is going to be a four day delay. There's no extra money because I messed up, but like you need to be aware the
Mhm.
deck rail's not going in today. And it's just like, and that's the
Oh yeah.
difference is like, everybody makes mistakes and it's how you react to them. You can run and hide and text the person an hour before it was supposed to be delivered instead of 5 days ago when you saw the problem. And it's those you come back, you stack up all those little tiny things that set you apart, and all of a sudden you're the person people want to work with. And to circle back to your original question about the car, my truck looks amazing too. It's not, my tile guy is the stereotype that you're thinking of. Dent in most panels, the truck bed is full of old mud buckets that are being used to hold tools. Everything's covered in tile grout. Everything looks
Yep.
gross. His shirt is covered in thin set and tile stuff. And it's, he's the stereotypical blue collar working man. And, he drives a really, really nice red pickup truck, not at work.
Yeah.
And that's how he's chosen to present himself. I wear the exact same, logoed shirt that I bought 60 of them. And I have a uniform. I wear it I have got logos on my shorts even. And that's what I wear to work and to public because it's super comfortable. And I'm the type of guy who doesn't care that I'm not wearing anything with a brand name. I'm like, that doesn't matter.
I mean, look at me. I just have a plain
There
navy
you
blue
go.
shirt on. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I feel
But,
it. I feel you.
people look at people in certain lights, I look at labels as unnecessary. Other people look at labels as super important.
Oh yeah.
I don't drive the Tesla because it says Tesla. In fact, I got the badges taken off. I got the little
Really? Oh
T.
wow.
Yeah, I did it myself with a heat gun and some fishing line. It's actually very, very easy. But I actually like that it's logo-less and it doesn't say dual motor, so people think it's slower. And I'm like, go ahead, you can go past me. I'm very comfortable, very happy with my life. And you know, I, these are just decisions that are kind of tied back into like how I was raised and parenting and stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
I come from a very well-off family, but like my dad he wears the same five unbranded button-up short sleeve collar t-shirts.
One
And
black, one blue, one white. Yeah,
no, they're all
right.
like hilarious colors and patterns. And then he only like puts on a sixth shirt because my mom will be like, these need to be washed. You're wearing the same shirt 4 days in a row. And she'll like rip it from him and be like, put
And
this one
he
on.
and he very rightly has no problem with. He's like, I don't see a problem with wearing the same shirt 5 days in a row.
No. And,
Very rightly.
absolutely. Yeah. And he's, in his field of the architect who designs recording studios, he
Oh,
is the
nice.
literal top of the world. He's the savant. He's the literal genius. So he can wear whatever the hell he wants. Nobody cares. He has hair like Doc Brown from Back to the Future. He looks like a crazy man because he is a crazy man, but he's also an actual genius in that world.
Yeah.
So he should have some craziness about him, and it fits. It fits. But I just, there were things that were just way more important to, my dad would spend an ungodly amount of money on Yankee tickets. That to him was his
That
Gucci bag,
that hurts. That hurts.
but he likes the Dodgers. He grew up a Dodger fan.
Whew,
He
okay.
grew up in Brooklyn.
Oh, I could see. I'm surprised you say fan still. I could understand if he was like, man, forget these guys. I would get it.
So the thing about my pops is I would say his first love is probably his oldest daughter, and then his second love is probably baseball.
And where in the pecking order do you fall? How
I
far
fall.
down?
I
70s,
fall.
80s?
I'm hopefully in the single digits, but I've acknowledged that there's plenty of love, but
Are
it's
you
it's
even in the
after
will?
baseball.
Are you even in the
No,
will?
not in the will. Definitely not. No, 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 absolutely not. no, there's no way I'm in that will.
Well, now we know why you work so hard, and you got to make it on your own. You got tossed to the side. They're like, go build some houses. Good
Yeah.
luck, man.
Yeah.
Is that their only parting
Oh my
gift? An
God.
orange hammer? Is
It's
that where the
so
name comes
funny.
from?
Yeah.
Is
Oh my God.
that...
My mom did help me come up with the name. It's kind of funny. It's kind of funny. Yeah. I wanted
And
to
then she
call
kicked
it,
your ass out. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, steel toe boots and all. Get out of here. Um, yeah, it's funny though. I wanted to call the podcast Bridging the Gap because I wanted to literally bridge the gap of missing knowledge between the homeowners and the people that get hired to fix stuff like me, because we have got the knowledge on how this stuff operates and how the stuff is fixed and constructed and whatever. And homeowners spend two, three, four, five, $600,000 on a wood box and they don't know anything about it. And I was like, I don't understand. It's the most money
Right.
you're ever going to spend in your life on arguably the most important material possession in your life, and you don't know a goddamn thing about it. Like, what do you mean you don't know how to drain the water heater or know that it needs to be done? Anyway.
I agree with you. I do think over the next, it's probably started to happen. You would be more tuned into this than me. I think starting a few years ago and then now and into the next like 10 years, I think like apprenticeships and the trades are going to come back like way hard. Like,
Yeah.
for the past 20 or 30 years, everybody has to go to college. Everybody, no, not everybody. Honestly, even myself, if I was 18 now and it was like, okay, do I go to college? Do I go work? Do I start my own business? I don't know if college would be like an automatic lock for me. If I was 18 now and know what I know now, think the way I do now, I don't know if I would for me. Now, I'm sure you're probably thinking, wait, you work in taxes and accounting, you wouldn't have gone to college. What I will tell you is at our firm, I am actually the only person that doesn't do taxes and accounting. I do everything else for us.
Okay.
So yeah, so like we have, a CPA, we have an EA, kind of like we were talking about earlier. We have a full-time accountant as well. So I don't do any of that. I do everything else. I'm the one person that cannot fulfill the actual services that we provide. Everyone else at the firm can, and whew, thank God they're here to do it because I can't.
Yeah, I'm one-stop shop with the greatest Rolodex ever of subcontractors. I will say
Well,
though, I have thought about this, would at 18, what would I have done?
mhm.
And it is a very mixed bag,
What
because you
what did
can't.
you do? What did when you were 18? Did you go to college?
Oh
Did you
yeah,
just start working? Okay,
so I went to Hartwick College right after
okay.
high school, HARTWICK in Oneonta, New York. Um, I knew right away that I wanted to be self-employed, so I
There you
declared
go.
like nobody else in freshman year because every one of my friends was undeclared or a nurse because there was a super amazing
Okay,
nursing program at my school,
okay,
or an athlete because we had a D1 women's water polo and a D1 men's soccer team.
okay.
So we actually had like legit, like there were two dudes on my floor. One dude was from Jamaica and I
Okay.
was like, what's your major? And he was like, I'm here to play soccer.
Yeah, what's your
This is
major?
not,
Soccer.
yeah. He's like, I'm gonna be
Go,
here for four
going to
years.
Europe. That's my major.
Yeah. He's like, I'm gonna be here for 4 years. I'm gonna get a degree. But like this, I was recruited and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
word, what's up? Yeah. Shout out Cleon. Like he was a great dude. Yeah. He lived two doors. Anyway. So yeah, I did 4 years of school, 4 years of college, graduated on time, not that fancy. I didn't really use my college's extracurricular activity to my advantage like I probably should have. Um, but the problem with that question is you can't divide your life from your career. They are completely intermingled, whether you
Yeah.
want to admit it or not. So for me, I look at like, okay, my grandfather started this trust to send me to college. If I didn't spend it on college, a very expensive private college, I might add, I would have it now.
Mhm.
I would be able to, you know, buy more things, do more things. And even as I say that, I'm like, well, you own a house, you own a car, you own a truck. What's the more things? Um, but the other side is if I don't go to college, I don't meet Ernie, the like super best friend that I moved to
Mhm.
California when I graduate, crash on his couch. If I don't get booted from his couch and set up a tent in his backyard, I don't rent the house that I ended up living in. If I don't do that, I don't get the construction job where I learned this is awesome. And then if I don't do that, I don't start putting stuff on Craigslist to work for myself because that was a
Mhm.
thing in Santa Cruz, California 11 years ago. And if I don't, get hired for this one job, I don't meet Sandy, who's
Mhm.
like 72-year-old retired carpenter who hires me and pays me under the table for, 4 days a week to just like be his guy. Him and I did I don't even know how many decks, fences, bathrooms, kitchens, and like you start going down the line of things, and it's like, oh my God, if I don't go to college, it's all deleted. But
Yeah.
the other side of that coin is like, okay, sitting here as a business owner, if I knew if I literally just had that crystal ball and you were like, no matter where the path goes, the yarn untangles and you're gonna end up here,
Yeah.
then I'd be like, oh, okay. If I know that, then no, I would have taken a 6-week construction management course, and that's probably it. And then I would have, you know, I would have started an LLC and just I would have figured it out,
Yeah.
And so it's like it's it's a cute question, but it's a bullshit question. It's kind of like because I've had this conversation with my mom
Yeah.
all the time, and I'm like, man, if I had known that I was gonna blow $200,000 of cash on college, I would have just blah, blah, blah. And she's like, no, but then you don't do this and this and this. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. If I don't do that, that, and that, I don't meet them, and them. And, you know, I, it, separating real life from that imaginary crystal balls can sometimes be difficult. And, that kind of circles back to, I think, a bigger question or idea of just like appreciating the luck we all have as people that, we're not mining cobalt in the Congo with our bare hands. Um, life is always greener when you have a great life to complain about stuff, first world problems, as I like to joke about. But it is an interesting idea for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. Like me, same thing. Like I went to college, I graduated. I am actually one of two amongst like all of my friends that graduated in 4 years. Everybody else took like 5 or 6 or some
Mm.
didn't. So yeah, I agree with you that like like, I was in a fraternity and things like that. I agree with you. I would have never had them.
What
At least for
fraternity?
me, Omega Delta Phi. You've never heard of it. We're a very small one.
No. I
Yeah.
was like, if it was one of the like nationwide ones, I may
No.
have known it because I know Hartwick had a TKE chapter, and that's like one of the larger
Tau Kappa
like
Epsilon. Yeah, TKE is pretty
national.
big.
Yeah.
Sigma Chi is another big one
Yep.
that you've probably heard of. Yeah. So our fraternity is mainly in the Southwest and then dotted around like the Midwest and the Northwest. Like I
Okay. A
think
little
we
bit
had
more
like
regional.
yeah, we had I think like one school in Florida at a time, and I think at Auburn we had a chapter. I don't know if
Oh,
it's still
cool.
active, but yeah, like most of ours are like Texas, Oklahoma, Arizona, New Mexico. Yeah, as well, like you haven't heard of it, and definitely not in
10,
in New York. That's
what are
for
we,
sure.
10, 12 years out of college, something like that?
For me, you're making me feel old. I graduated college when
We're
I
the
was
same
13.
age. What do you mean for
I
you?
know, but I don't like to hear it. I don't need to hear it. Like,
Okay. You're 6 days out of college. Do you keep
thank
up
you,
with these
thank you,
fraternity brothers?
thank you.
Because
I appreciate it.
I know, like when I went to my buddy's wedding, I was the like only invite that was not his fraternity brother because they're like that
Whoa.
close still. So I was
Uh,
just curious, like how close of the
yeah,
brotherhood is it now, 10,
great
12 years
question.
later?
So for me, my best friends, like still to this day, like if anything happened, who would I call? They are fraternity brothers. One of them, we've been friends for 15 years. I was actually just in Reno to visit him
Hmm.
for the weekend, and then one of the other ones, he's our lawyer. Like he wrote our operating agreement. We've like referred clients to him, and he's got his own. Well, he's got like a regular law job right now, and then he does like a few things on the side, like I guess working for us. But yeah, I would say that we trust him enough at our firm to hire him and give him actual American dollars to do actual legal work.
Oh, you use
So yeah,
American
for
dollars? That's
I
weird.
know, surprisingly, I
We
believe
don't use
me,
American dollars.
I wanted to
We
give
only
him.
take crypto.
I wanted Chinese RMB, and he said no. I don't know what the hell his problem is.
Why not use the loonie? It's very strong. Yeah. Huh.
When I was in Canada, I had to change money in the airport, and they gave me Canadian dollars and coins, and I go to buy something, and they're like, oh, it's 9.62, whatever. He goes, you have 62 cents, and I just took out all my coins. I said, I don't know, you tell me. He could have robbed me of like $3 in coins because I didn't know what they were,
Not
but
in
he was
Canada.
Well, that's what I found out. They're very nice people.
Yeah,
They're
in
very nice
Canada, he'd be like, "Oh, sorry," and hand you a donut. I love Canadian people. This is stereotypical joking for the
Yeah.
record. Yeah. I
But
am
yes,
surprised though that on a serious note, I am surprised though that you have to convert. Like obviously Canada's a real country. This is not a shit on Canada at all. Hockey's one of my favorite sports. I'm a really actually legitimately actually a fan of Canada and the Canadian people, except for like Trudeau's policies, but I'm not like a political person. I just hear
sounds
like
like
him
you're about
talk.
to say something about how much you really hate Canada.
No, I'm just
Sounds like you're
surprised
fluffing
that
them right now.
I'm just my only comment is that I'm surprised that they just don't accept the American dollar. Like they're that close to us. And like you go to Mexico, you don't need to convert. Like you can, it makes it easier to like buy something from somebody on a street corner, but
Yeah,
you
that
can
well,
give American dollars no
you
problem.
can. You're also paying the ignorance tax essentially, because right, a lot of times that
No, no, no,
look.
no, no, no. I go to
So when I
Mexico
was
every
in
year. That's not how that works.
when I was in Canada, so what I did was the reason I was changing the money is because like, oh yeah, we'll take it on par, and I'm like, well, no, then I'm losing out. So to me, it was worth it to change it. Yes, you're right. Many places will just take American dollars. Like when I was in Israel, they actually preferred American dollars. They didn't want Israeli
Hmm.
money. So yes, you're right. A lot of places will, but yeah, whatever. But doesn't mean you're going to get a good exchange rate or on par because if they just take, so that's one of the things.
Yeah,
So
see,
that
when you
that
go
was
to
why I did
Mexico,
it.
the only reason I know is because my family has a home there.
Oh, nice.
You just like look up the exchange rate. So like
Yes.
if it's 18, then when you go to stores and you're like, I have American, and they're like, oh, okay, well, we'll give you change back in pesos. And
Sure.
sometimes if it's like 18 pesos to a dollar, they'll exchange it at 20 pesos to a dollar if you buy something.
Well,
So
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It depends on. Not everywhere's going to do that, but yes, a lot
no,
of
of
places
course.
will. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I found out in my like teenage years that you actually just get the best exchange rate on your credit card. At least with Mexico. I don't know how to
Yeah.
talk about that with other countries, but like we'd go to the bar, for example, and now I have a credit card as a quasi adult, and they're like, yeah, the exchange rate for the credit card is just like that's set by like a national bank, whatever, whatever, whatever. And I was like, oh, word. Like I looked it up and it's like 19 to 1, and the bar's doing 17 to 1. And I'm like, cool, here's my plastic. Like,
Yeah.
then I
And
got cash back and the best exchange rate, and now I don't have to carry around a big wad of money in
yeah,
Mexico. Granted, our house is in a town this big with security
I
everywhere.
figured it was probably pretty safe.
It's the worst, the absolute worst and only thing that has happened to us or anybody who's visited there. And for the record, every year since I was born, so 33 literal years, is one pair of sneakers has been stolen. One pair.
Not
That's
bad.
it. They were mine. And I've got 13 extra wide, so I was not getting them replaced in Mexico. So
Yeah, you're not finding those down there.
yeah,
You're Shaq down there.
I had to just fly home to New York in my sandals, but I survived.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. So no, traveling is a big thing for me. That's for
Yeah.
damn sure. So I've done plenty. One of my things is everywhere I go, I always try and collect at least one bill or one
Hmm.
coin, like to bring back. Yeah.
I
Um,
definitely did that for like two trips as a kid and then lost track of it. And then like 10 years later, I found like a bill from like Switzerland in like a drawer. And I was like, how much is this? And my dad was like, pretty sure they're on a different currency. That's trash. And I was like, oh, cool.
yeah. Oh
That
yeah.
actually
If it was
happened.
the Swiss franc, probably yeah. Huh.
Yeah, honestly, it probably was because I'm
Yeah. That's how they
not
use the euro.
sure they use the euro now. Yeah, they only England didn't do it.
It there's a few other countries. So yeah, England still uses the pound.
Yeah.
I believe Northern Ireland does because they think they're part of England or part of the UK. They're not
Okay.
part of Ireland, but Ireland uses the euro because they don't like England. I believe if I got that right.
God, it's
So like,
hysterical.
yeah. I mean,
It's
imagine
it's
if like,
hysterical to us or to me.
yeah,
I'm sure if you live there, it's not funny at all. But to me, it's like this is hilarious. You got these countries are this big and they're next to each other. So it'd be
yeah,
like if we hated it'd be like if we hated Mexico. It's like, would you know what we do with Mexico? We're boys. We're boys with Mexico. Come on. My
the
Ford got assembled in Mexico.
right. the one thing you mentioned was credit cards. I know, so I have two personal credit cards where there's no exchange fees. Like if I'm overseas, like I can just swipe it and it's not. Um, and then I don't know what yours are. I believe business credit cards have that too. So we have like one contractor who
Hmm.
he goes, or I'm sorry, he's not, he's a contractor, he's our client. Um, he goes to Mexico, I think like once every couple years. And, he spends, 50, $80,000 a month at Lowe's and Menards and everything. And we told him, we're like, dude, you have like the wrong credit card, like for your business. And we recommended one to him from Amex and Chase. He likes Amex, so we're like, okay, well, we talked about that. And then a Chase one, which is good for like travel points. And at the end, he was like, no, 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 I like the one I have. Okay, fine. But yeah, that's one thing we actually do with a lot of clients is we try and look at like the bank accounts they have, the credit cards, like everything, and be like, hey, you can change this and like maximize it. Now, again, at the end of the day, he said the one he has, he's like, no, I like this because I can call and do XYZ. Okay, cool. If
Yeah.
that's what you want, man, yeah. But yeah, we try and bring up that stuff. So yeah, like earlier when we were talking about the car, the credit card, I'm like, oh yeah, bring up more. I'll tell you how we do it.
Yeah. No, I mean, this is stuff that people don't think about. I mean, I am probably one of those people that could probably use a different card, but I'm similar to that client where like
What makes
his
you say
his
that?
his reasons are different than mine. Mine are I've got everything under Bank of America. When I
Mhm.
call, the computer says I've been a client for 29 years because my mom opened a joint bank account and then removed her name like 10 years later. So I
That's
have
what
like,
almost everybody is. Oh, my parents had it, or my yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
but
Yeah.
I get a level of service that like, I think in my whole life I've missed two payments. Now everything's on auto pay, but like they were like, "Hey, you missed a payment, it's a $30 fee." And I'd call somebody and they'd be like, "Oh, Mr. Storick, we see that you've been a customer since 1992." And I'm like, "Yeah, when I was one, I
Yeah,
opened."
little do they know.
Yeah, little do they know. And they're like, "Yeah, we can just get rid of that fee." And I'm like, that's a level of service that if I started a credit card with Chase Sapphire tomorrow, I'm not going to get that. I'm going to get the same level of service. But it is funny you mentioned the travel points because I actually had a gentleman on the podcast who is his company. I can't, damn it, I can't remember the name of his company, but he's a travel rewards optimizer.
Mhm.
And so he will basically ask you for like, 20 pretty non-invasive questions about how you spend and what you're spending on blah, blah, blah. And then he'll go, okay, I recommend that you
Yeah.
get this credit card because you're gonna pay this like $100 a year fee, but then you're gonna get it back and you're going to be able to use these points to,
Yep.
that trip that you did last year, you could have done the same trip for half the price, or you could have done the same trip for the same price and everything would have been first class. And like,
Mhm.
and so that's like literally what he does. He's retired from some other profession,
Yeah.
but that's his job now. It's like
Yeah. Oh
Frank's
yeah.
travel reward optimizer. And it was fascinating because my mom is super big and like we use a cap one for
Mhm.
the company that my parents and I are partnered with, or we have like several houses in Durham that we've bought, we've gutted, we've renovated, we rent them out.
Mhm.
And we put basically everything that can possibly be put on the card on this one cap one credit card. And then, a big trip will come up and my mom will be like, it was $8,000 for these round trip tickets to
Yep.
Egypt. I need you to write me a check for $1,200 because I just used all of our
Yeah.
miles, blah, 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 blah. And like you used most of those miles from
And
projects you did. And I'm like, cool, awesome.
depending on the card you have, Capital One in particular is doing this a lot more now. Have you heard about their like lounges that they're making? Not at airports.
I have not. No.
So a lot of airports, or at least big ones, right?
Yeah.
By you, I guess. I mean this respectfully. I don't know if it'd be there. Maybe Charlotte, I guess. But like at Atlanta, right, not too far away, you like Amex, Capital One, like they all have their lounges. Well, now Capital One is putting lounges in like the real world, so to speak.
Hmm.
So I was at a conference in California. It was in LA.
Oh, fuck.
This
I did
was
see one of these in Austin.
yeah, it was
I
just like
saw
at a
one.
mall. It was just
Yeah,
like
it was in a promenade. It was like a big
yeah,
outdoor mall. And I was like, Capital One Lounge.
and yeah, and
Yeah.
it's made for like, well, I guess it's probably like a coffee shop kind of, but like it's made for Capital One probably business clients. So you can just, oh, wait, there's a mall here. Yeah, let me sit down, pop open my computer and work. And so depending on the card you have, you get access to that. So yeah, right, like you were saying, depending on the card you have and what you need, it can really benefit you and
Yeah.
give you some. So like me, I love traveling. Like this year, I think we've gone on 3 different trips already for business, and then I was just in Santa Barbara for a bachelor party. I'm going to Costa Rica for a wedding. I love to travel, right? Like I've been doing this my whole life, or as an adult. And so for me, like I have a personal credit card that is friendly for that. For the business, we do a little bit travel, probably not as much like this year. But for that, we got the credit card that's the 12 months no interest. Because like why would we spend our own money if we can spend the bank's? And if we have 12 months to pay it off, no extra cost, hell yeah, let's do that. So like we got that, I think, 2 years ago, whatever it was. And then we had to open up a new entity. It was kind of like anything, it was for paperwork reasons. But same thing. We got it. We're like, all right, well, let's open up a 12-month no interest credit card for that. And it just like buys you time. And yeah, I think a lot of people in the trades, when you're first starting out, I think that's absolutely massive to get a 12 months no interest credit card. Even if the limit's only $5, $8, $10,000, like it's a good start,
That's what I did.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we always encourage people to do. And kind of like you said, I think you said his name was Frank. I don't know if that's his real name.
I think it is. Yeah.
But yeah, kind of like the travel thing, right? We ask all of our clients, whether it's for credit cards or for their taxes, kind of same thing. It's like, hey, we need to know these at least basics, and then we have like the foundation of where we're gonna go. And so yeah, if it's credit cards, if it's bank accounts, like B of A, we always tell people, especially in like real estate and the trades, a lot of times, right, you need a relationship with the bank for lines of credit, or maybe to get a house with no money down, right? Like getting a HELOC, like whatever way you're getting the funds. A lot of times you need a relationship with a bank like that, B of A or Chase or Veridian, whoever it is. And so in that regard, yes, a lot of times in real estate or the trades, we recommend more traditional banks and credit cards to people. Ones like us that are more online, doesn't matter, it's all the same. So we actually use an online bank. I won't really go into it because it probably doesn't fit you and a lot of people listening right now. What I would just say is Bluevine is our number one, Relay is number 1B, I guess, for banks. But yeah, other than that, I think for like your situation, what you described, yeah, B of A is probably going to be your best bet. You have that relationship, and especially your parents helped build it. Now again, let's pretend your dog is your child. We're gonna do that callback, right?
Yeah,
or
sure.
anybody listening
Yeah.
who has kids, like doing the same thing. And nowadays, right, it's not just they have a savings account. Thankfully, with technology, now you can set up like a retirement account. I think you mentioned a Roth earlier. Like you can set up all different things, kind of depending on what you want, or like a college plan. So yeah, those things we try and help people, like, or at least point them in the right direction. Some things we can do legally, some things, hey, you have to talk to a financial advisor or things like that.
Which,
But
to
yeah,
clarify, you guys are not financial advisors.
correct.
Yep.
We are not financial advisors. We will never tell you, hey, you need to open up this 401k. And no, what we will do instead is, hey, based on your goals, right? So maybe it's having kids, maybe it's selling the business in 5 years, right? Because those are different. We say, hey, what are your goals? Okay, cool. For you, you should open up a SEP IRA. For another person, hey, you need to do a Roth, right? It kind of depends. And then we have a few partners that we work with, Edward Jones and places like that, where we refer people because we can't do it. And also,
Yeah.
that's not really our forte. Like we know taxes and accounting. Anything they give you, anything they recommend or open, we can apply it. And we'll recommend, hey, tax-wise, it's going to affect you this way or that. But yeah, we don't do stocks. We don't do anything like that. We'll apply it and tell you how it's going to affect it. And actually, that's a good question. How often do you meet with your accountant? From what you were telling me earlier, it sounds like maybe like once a year, around
Yeah.
February or March.
So we have, we do email whenever there's anything, and I could call her anytime, and she's not hard to get. We do a yearly face-to-face,
Mhm.
and then usually like, okay, this is not pleasantries, this is like, we're working on your taxes phone call.
Yeah.
This is the first year though, however, due to due to like business doing well, that we actually have like a calendar meeting,
There you go. Okay.
in like June or whatever, so that we can see how I'm doing and
Yep.
probably prepay some taxes, maybe quarterly or something like that.
Yep.
Yeah. So there hasn't, unfortunately, but I'm happy with where I am. Unfortunately, there hasn't been, enough income for me to warrant more and more meetings with her. And
Mhm.
this is kind of the first year of my business like really taking off. I took I shout out to my friend Alex, who I'm sure is not listening. um, I'll be honest, I love the kid, but he's not.
I hope later tonight you get a message. Yo, man, what the hell? I was listening.
Well, it'll be in 32 weeks when this comes out, but either way, he was like, "Why don't you have a website?" And I was like, "Because I don't want to pay somebody to make it, and I don't want to pay like monthly to host it." And like 3 days later, he was like, "I made you a website for free, and I already have hosting for my website, so I'm hosting it for free." And I was like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, what do you think?" I bought crsbuilds.com because CRS contracting was taken by some dude in Atlanta. And I was just blown away. And I was like, I don't even know, like, an act of kindness by somebody that doesn't
Yeah.
share my blood it hasn't been like that, big, well, girlfriend removed, I was
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like blown away. And then he modified it for free again. And you take that combination with, obviously I've been working in the area and building a reputation for a couple of years, but then I finally bit the bullet and hired a social media person.
Mhm.
And those two things, all of a sudden the phone doesn't stop ringing.
You'd be
And
surprised. Just making the
yeah,
website look like functional. I think a lot of people try, oh, I'm gonna put all these bells and whistles, and you make it look too crazy. Like our website, it's just black. Like black background, white letters, welcome, we do taxes and accounting. Like it's
yeah.
so simple.
I mean,
For that exact reason. Yeah.
mine's not far off. There's some orange in there because it's my brand. My
Yep.
logo's got a little orange and green or whatever. But like when you scroll down to see like kitchen, bath, decks, it's not even clickable. Like it's just a little blurb about kitchens, bath, and decks. As my friend Alex said,
Mhm.
for a contractor, your Instagram is what everybody,
Pretty
they
much,
just want
yeah.
to see the pictures. So
Mhm.
the website is really um this is me imitating a fake customer. Um, is he successful enough to pay for
Yeah.
a website? Oh,
Yeah,
it's
pretty
not just a
much.
Facebook page. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a successful enough person to pay for a website. Like
Mhm.
I hate to dumb it down, but in my trade,
Mhm.
that's what the website's for. It's
Yeah.
literally like, are you big and successful enough that you can afford a website?
It legitimizes
Because
you. Oh
it
yeah.
legitimizes you,
Yep.
but it doesn't even have my best jobs because I forgot to take pictures of them. But it's
So
like,
actually, here's something I would suggest to you, and this is what we've told some of our contractor or our clients, they're contractors like you. If you have like two properties like pretty close to each other, or two jobs very close to each other, hire a photographer for a day or an afternoon, and just have them go out and take like 1,000 photos. Because it doesn't matter if it's the same property or the same two. Nobody's gonna realize. But if
yeah,
you get the front, the back, the this, the that, and even if you're at different stages, that because then you have the thousands of photos, you paid them one time, and you can just have them for what, for Instagram, for your website, for Facebook, for whatever it is, and they're gonna look sharp, right? Oh, this person can afford a photographer. It
yeah.
looks professional, right? If you take it on your
I literally wrote off a new iPhone just to get the camera,
yes, well,
just to get the camera.
so today, right now, we're recording on Zoom, so it's on our computer. We have just an iPhone. I think it's 14. I'm showing you right now. I'm holding. Yeah,
Yeah,
say, it looks like we have the same freaking cover too. So like,
I think we
but like,
do. Mine's
we,
got three lenses though, so I think I got a newer
oh,
one.
you're bougie. Look at
I
you.
mean, I had that's not true. My phone was very old. I had the old iPhone for like several years, and then the battery finally could
Yeah.
not keep up. And I was like, all right, my buddy was also like, you should start filming that stuff you build in your garage. And I was like, okay, phone, tripod, let's go.
Yeah, we have. It's surprising how cheap it is. We suggest this to every client. For you, it sounds like you're already doing this. For anybody listening, all you really need to do social media is you need like maybe $1,000. So you get a phone, and it doesn't even have to be a brand new iPhone, right? I think ours we bought it. It wasn't used, but it was an older model, so it wasn't new, so to speak. and we bought a set of mics. Let me find them and show them to you. I think in total we spent maybe $1,200, maybe. Like, yeah, DJI. This is the brand I recommend. Yeah, exactly. And yours is wireless. It looks like too, so you can
Yeah,
move
this
around.
goes
Yeah.
into the iPhone
Yep.
bottom, and then
It,
these literally clip on to your shirt,
yep.
and it couldn't
It's
get any easier.
it's $1,200, 1,300, whatever it is now with inflation and taxes. Every single contractor, like you said, because your Instagram, your Facebook, it's nobody cares about our photos for taxes and accounting. Like
Yeah.
we don't show photos of returns. Like we don't.
No, you
That's
need
probably illegal.
you need two fake pictures of you like with a client and like writing and like somebody typing for like a picture on the side.
Yeah.
Like it's all fake. Yeah.
And but like for you, people do need to see your work, so to speak.
Yeah.
And yeah, an iPhone and a mic so you can do a few things. It sounds clear. It's not like you're in a cave in Afghanistan or something. And then to get a photographer for just an afternoon to take 1,000 photos of one or two different properties inside and out, dude, you're set for a year and a half. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, how much is a photographer? I don't know what it would be for you guys. I know for us, when our last like photo shoot we did with all of our partners, I think it was like $2,000 for the afternoon. Like, not a lot at all.
Yeah, I mean, there's levels to this
Yeah.
all the way around, and I mean, it could be as simple as like give your friend your phone and $200 and say take pictures for 20 minutes,
And
or you
especially
could,
because then you're in it. And I think
yeah,
having your own face on the website makes a big difference. I think
which
people
is
can
what I
tell that it's
did. I don't
generic
know
for
if
you. Yeah.
I don't know if you've been to CRS builds, but like when you hit the landing page, and it starts playing automatically. There's like a very professional video business
Yeah.
card that has been, I hired a guy. Shout out to Noah. He's fantastic, and he, shot it in 3 days, including two site visits for a job where we were mid build and then we were finished. So he got like shots of me working, shots of my guys working, and then the shot
Out
of the
of
final project. And
when you
like,
say Noah, I don't want to say his last name quite yet. Is he down in South Carolina?
no, he's
Oh,
local.
okay, different guy
Yeah,
then.
no, he's
I
local.
know another guy his name is Noah. He's in South Carolina and he does like videos and websites and stuff like that for real estate
Oh, yeah.
investors. That's why I was like, oh, I wonder if it's the same guy.
That would be crazy. No, I doubt he goes to South Carolina, though he'll go where somebody wants to pay him to go.
Sure.
Unfortunately for me, but amazing for him, he's been priced out of my zone because of his success.
Yeah.
And I hope he continues to do that. But, at one point I had the money to hire him when he was a little lower and things
Yeah.
were going really well. And he did 3 video testimonials for clients and the video business card, and it was basically the foundation for the website. That's why my friend Alex could do it so quickly and for no money. He was like, any website builder would have needed thousands of dollars to create the content you already owned.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
he was
yeah.
like, my job was I had to click and drag a bunch of stuff in WordPress, and I was like, oh, in my head, the cost to build a website, I didn't realize that they were going to show up with a camera and like make the content. I was like, I own this already. I got a folder that says CRS advertising pics, and it's full of videos and pictures. And I've made a bunch of stuff in my garage lately where I'm videoing it and editing it in iMovie. And, now my YouTube is, doing its thing and putting cool stuff. But before we get too crazy, lost with time, and go on too many tangents, I would love to hear from you, the professional, talking to, everybody listening about
Ask me, what do you
are
wanna know?
your tax, what's the advice you'd give to all, your small business owners? I mean, you've given it to clients, for however many years you've been in business. So, we're talking less to me and more towards the listeners, but, let's dive into, real tax prep. My advice pretty much stops at, hire a professional tax professional.
Well, I'd tell you this, that's a good first step because a lot of people come to us and they've been trying to do QuickBooks on their own or they're trying to go through H&R Block. And I don't have any hair. God took it away from me years ago, but most of them are pulling their hair out. And I completely understand why. Like, it's not fun. And actually, fun fact, my first like venture on my own, I was living abroad. I was teaching English and I was just like a solopreneur. Like I was like going to people's homes or their businesses and teaching. And I was doing Excel sheets to track everything, probably like you have done.
I've
Or a
got a
lot of,
Google Doc. It looks
yeah,
just like Excel. Yeah.
that's what I used to do that. I'm like, okay, this class on this day, 300 RMB in. Like I used to do that. And it was painstaking. I hated it. Now looking back, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that all the time. So like I get where it comes from. What I would say is kind of, everyone's situation is different, which, like you said, hire a professional to see where you're at. The biggest thing is, and you said it earlier, we actually tell people you need to hire a professional. There's kind of two lines of demarcation, right? W-2 employees, H&R Block is fine, TurboTax is probably fine. Once you start making your own money, like you said, business owner, once you start generating your own income, because you are now responsible to report that to the IRS, that's when you need to hire somebody. So that's number one is if you're working for yourself, even if it's just a side hustle, you're going to have to hire somebody eventually. The other one is we actually tell people wait to hire an accountant until you've made at least like maybe 50,000 in revenue. Not profit, but revenue. And the reason is because if you've sold $50,000 of electrician work or $50,000 of drywalling, you're doing something right. Somebody trusts you. Somebody's answering your phone call. Somebody's whipping out their wallet. Somebody's recommending you. Like they actually like you and think you do a good job to do 50,000. Now I know with inflation, that's not a lot or not as much anymore. But yeah, so those are probably the two lines of demarcation we always tell people, or like points on the route on the map. Like when do you hire? Is if you're working for yourself and you hit 50,000 in revenue. So that'd probably be the first one. Up until that point, yeah, I would say just, well, maybe you don't need QuickBooks yet, but you just kind of got to struggle through it yourself. Just those are your hard yards. Those are the trials and tribulation years. And we did that for a while as well. My side business that I make like $100 a month, I do my own books because it doesn't make sense for that, like to outsource it to somebody. So that'd be the first thing is, yeah, 50K in revenue, hire somebody. The other thing is business has to be business, personal has to be personal. And you brought up a good example earlier. You said you got in a car crash, right? And that's when you got your truck because you got the check from
Yeah.
the, okay.
Yep.
So one thing we always tell people is business, personal is personal, and this is why. So one, if anybody listening is familiar, the term Schedule C, right, or 1099, well, you're on your own as a business owner. If you do not have a EIN letter from the IRS, right, you don't have a LLC in your state, it's you that somebody is suing, right? So
Yeah.
you shoot a nail gun, you hit somebody, they're suing you.
Yeah. You have no protection.
Yes. Now,
Yeah.
and so that's why whenever, I got my LLC, that's going to bring my taxes down. No, LLCs are about liability. And especially in the line of work that you do, Corbett, and probably a lot of
It's
people here
in the
listening.
name.
Well, yes, but
It's literally in the name.
good. But like those things, it gives you that protection. So you somebody slips off the deck, right? And they want to sue you. Well, you know what? They're suing the business. They're not coming after you. They're not coming after your home. So LLCs are huge for liability and protection.
Yeah. And if I could just like add to that,
Yeah,
and
please.
this goes beyond even the small business person. Like, for example, this is a real life example. My friend hired me to build a house on this parcel of land, and then I bought this parcel of land, and we went halves on the middle piece that borders both of us.
Mm-hmm.
And we formed an LLC just to buy that parcel of land. We're equal partners. Him and his wife are one entity. I'm the other entity. And it's a complete 50-50. And the only literal bill was one bill to buy the land and a yearly tax bill. We just divide in half. And for those listening, why would you start an LLC? Because if somebody trespasses on the woods that we own, that he's 11 acres away from and I'm 30 minutes away from, and breaks their ankle, technically they're trespassing, but there's still a chance, small as it may be, that they could turn around and sue Jeremy and Corbett. But they're going to have basically no luck suing. I don't even remember the name of the LLC. That's the point. But that level of protection, the LLC doesn't own my car. I do. But when you can't sue me, the LLC owns that piece of land. And so that's just continuing exactly what you were talking about of just like removing that level of anxiety, creating a
And
level of
especially
protection.
if the land in between you guys, I don't know what your plans are for it, but like if you wanted to sell it, if you're going to build on it, right? It can depend on what you want as to whether it should be personal or business. Yeah, absolutely. So
Yeah.
yeah, all those things are what I would tell people, anybody starting out, you want to consider them at the same time. You don't want, what is analysis by paralysis or paralysis by analysis. You
Hmm.
don't want to like worry about it so much you never do anything, right? The
Yeah.
number one advice we give people is go make money. Because until if you don't make money, you don't got a tax problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like so,
My,
so go make money.
my grandfather said this, and my dad quotes it all the time. He goes, you want to know how to make $1 million and pay no taxes? And he goes, yeah, how do you? He goes, step one, make $1 million.
Yeah,
That's the whole joke.
it's true.
Yeah, but it's like if you don't make the million, there's no conversation about how to not pay taxes. So
Oh yeah,
go work, go
yeah.
make the money. But then also, those LLC partnership agreements, everything in there sounds terrible. Everything in there is like,
What do you mean?
well, just like because it's all about what happens when something's wrong, not when things are
Oh,
going well. When things are going well, you don't need anything in that agreement. But
right.
the whole point is like, okay, you and your best friend bought a bar together. It's your best friend. You're excited about this bar. Oh yeah, yeah. You don't need the what if in the LLC partnership agreement when everything's great. But
Exactly.
5 years from now,
Yeah,
when
right.
nothing changed for you and your partner's going through a divorce, broke his leg, and his kid's in the hospital, and all
Yep.
of a sudden he needs to sell his share of the business, it sucks. But when you had clear heads in the beginning, made a partnership agreement
Hmm.
and can go and be like, look, I'm sorry, but the business is the business. As your friend, how can I be there in the hospital? But business wise, this is the
Oh yeah.
payout for your shares. And I don't want to sell the bar as a whole. So you have to sell them, like it's all in this agreement. And you made it when there were level heads. You
Yep.
made it when everything was good on both sides. And you can't then be like, oh, I was taken advantage of. I don't agree. No, 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 no. We all agreed to this. And like even
Oh yeah.
Jeremy and I, we have very clear laid out rules like, hey, if I wake up tomorrow and I want to move to Illinois and I want this land to be turned back into cash, we've got rules
Yep.
of, oh, well, you got to sell it to Jeremy first. And if he can't buy it, then we could sell it. But like, it's in black and white. And again, it's not for when things are going well. In my
Yep.
particular case, I'm building my forever home on that parcel.
Hmm.
And I just built his forever home on his parcel, and we're going
Yeah.
to build a communal shop on the land between us. So we're not really worried about it, but who knows what could happen. But the whole point is to be
Yeah.
protected both
Oh yeah.
from outside risks, which involve, the protection that we were talking about like getting sued, but it's just as vital and important to be protected from the internal struggles because shit happens. Companies
Yeah.
break up, partners fight, usually over something dumb. But if you have a black and white agreement, you're protected from all angles. And
Oh
then,
yeah.
this leads into having an umbrella policy with your insurance person. Get $1 million umbrella policy. This is my advice to a lot of business owners. It's like $150 a month, and you have $1 million umbrella policy just to
Hmm.
make sure that if, anybody trips on your job site and rolls an ankle, if they're a dick and they have a great cheap lawyer, they're going to come after you. Unfortunately, this is the world we live in.
I
Everybody's
know.
looking for the shortcut and the handout.
The other thing we have is so we have, general business insurance. We have errors and omissions. I don't know how common that is, like in your world. For us, since we do a lot of like paperwork and contracts, we also have that errors and omissions. So basically, like let's say we're doing some tax paperwork for you, right? We put North Carolina on everything, and then accidentally we put South Carolina in a few spots, right? And if somebody's like, "Oh, see, it's wrong. It's South Carolina," it's like, well, no, clearly like we meant we put it in 98% of the spots. We messed up twice. Well,
Yeah.
one, most of the time I think legally that would still hold. Like clearly it was North Carolina is what you meant. Two, we have E&O insurance just in case for things like that. Yeah. So yeah, I agree with you. That's one thing is yeah, with any new business and especially, working in more like machine heavy things or more dangerous jobs like you guys do, or maybe not dangerous, but where things can go wrong and people can get hurt, right?
More dangerous in the eyes of the insurance company. But
Yes.
yeah, completely agree. Yeah, like
Yeah.
even my roofer's insurance is different than mine.
That makes sense. Yeah. Because
He's three
different
stories
risks.
up with
Yeah.
harnesses and stuff.
Hmm.
My buddy whose name is Buddy Priest, he's a tree guy. He's an arborist. That's a completely insane level of insurance. He
With
literally
chainsaws
climbs
flying up there
he
and yeah,
climbs
axes.
trees
Yeah.
with a like thing that he shimmies up a rope with no like other part.
Yeah.
And it's like, what? It's like you're rock climbing up a tree with a chainsaw strapped to your ass. And then turning on a GoPro and using said chainsaw. I'm like,
Yeah.
he's a magician, but I know his insurance is way different than mine. I
Oh, I
don't use a
bet.
chainsaw. And when I do, it's for personal use and it's electric because I'm a wimp. Yeah, I'm very
That's
manly with
funny.
some stuff, but like I have an electric stall brand
You got me
chainsaw.
beat.
I like the batteries. Yeah, yeah,
But
but
yeah, I mean,
whatever.
uh, EIN, LLC, and then that lets you get a business bank account.
Hmm.
And we actually always tell people have two, one business checking, one savings. Every
Hmm.
dollar you get in the beginning, just transfer 20% over to that savings account because you will pay taxes on it,
Hmm.
right? Your W-2 check, the taxes come out.
Hmm.
When you're now contracting and doing your own work, there ain't no taxes coming out, so you're gonna have to pay it. So that's
Yep,
what we always tell people. I would say those are the big basics, really.
that
Business
hurts the
or
first couple of years because I
yep.
didn't do that. I didn't
Mhm.
move the 20% over. I didn't like spend it all, so I had the money to pay the taxes.
Still though,
But it hurt. It hurt the
yeah.
first couple of years, and I wasn't making any money, and it still hurt. I was like, I gotta pay $4,800 to the
Hmm.
state of to the federal government for what? They don't do anything for me,
Yep.
And it's like, I let me put it this way: I really started to understand how like ranchers from like that show Yellowstone feel about like the federal government, where they're just out there and like
Ah,
the post office is open 1 day a week and the driver's license office is open for an hour 1 day a week. And other than
and
that,
they're
like,
on break during that hour.
yeah. And like, other
I've
than
been in the
that,
DMV.
you're just on your own out there in like Montana with cows. And it's like, yeah, what are we paying taxes for? It's
Yep.
ridiculous. Um,
That's and again, obviously we're not here to talk like too much politics, but that's one of our things is we want to help clients pay like as little in taxes as possible.
yeah.
Now, me personally, yes, I don't like Uncle Sam. I don't want to give him more money. But more on the whole, like I mean, imagine if that 4,800 that you said, Corbett, right? Or I'm sure there's people listening that have paid with a few extra zeros on there. Like
Way
how
more zeros.
how much more could you or how much better would your life be if you could use that money to pay for Little League or maybe to go on a nice vacation, right? Or maybe to buy a new car. But like that money, you've earned it. Like you
Yeah.
literally went out, you convinced somebody to give you money for something. Like that's pretty good. You didn't just show up and they just gave you shit. Like you had to go there and make everything happen. And so to us, like we want to try and get people to pay as little in taxes as possible, right? And a lot of people listening probably have kids, right? As general contractor or roofer or plumber, like at least when we were kids, our dad worked for himself, not in construction, but we used to go with him to work, and we were his little assistants. And I bet my life, a lot of people listening right now in the same position, on the weekends or even maybe during the week, they homeschool their kids. They probably bring their kids to the job site. Yeah, they let them run around and do kid shit, but I bet they're also making them bring donuts to the crew. I bet they're also having them pass out water. I bet oh hey, go give this paper to the foreman. Okay, dad. They run it. They don't know. They get to spend time with dad. Like I bet there's a lot of people here doing that.
I
And
visited hundreds of job
yeah,
sites. Because my dad's an architect, and so like
yeah,
now we're partners a little bit on some stuff that we work on. But like my mom's an interior designer. The
perfect
company
combination. Yeah.
you're seeing WSDG as a host. It stands for Walters Storick Design Group. Beth
Oh,
Walters and John Storick started a design group,
yeah,
and they are the number one recording studio designers on earth. And so like when we started renovating houses in Durham, my dad was like, well, obviously I'll do the plans. And my mom
yeah,
was like, I'll design the kitchen. And I was like, okay, the dream team just got formed.
yeah.
And
Exactly.
11, 12, whatever, 10 plus years later, we've if you include the two we've sold, we've done this 12 times. We have
Yeah.
10 houses owned 100% outright, no renovation loans, no construction loans, no mortgages. We pay taxes, we collect rent. And the company makes no money because we spent all this money
Sure.
as
Yeah.
a loan from John and Beth.
Yeah.
But tax wise, it's an incredible, amazing thing. And then 10 years from now, when we sell these houses, I mean, I could just stop working. Like it's that, I mean, that, because that's also what's happening with Durham real estate, but that's a
Okay.
different conversation.
Yeah.
But
So
like, it's
just make
insane.
sure that capital gains tax. Be careful on that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But
Trust me, when
but
we do the K1, there's a big
yeah.
thing.
Oh yeah. But yeah, exactly, right? I mean, you went through this, it sounds like. You bring your kids to work, like just naturally. And I mean, imagine you're already doing it. You're already paying for food, for clothes, for school, for books, for Little League, whatever. Imagine if basically you could pay your kids tax free and tax deductible to your business, and all that money that went from the business account to their, personal account because they're an employee. Well, that's the money you're using to pay for Little League, to pay for, whatever. Because I mean, yeah, they're working for free, but like, no, they're not. They're earning their keep. Kids are expensive. Those mouths don't get fed on their own. You know what I mean? So yeah, like a lot of people, they miss things like that. You're already taking your kids to work. You're already paying for this stuff. Now, kind of like anything, do you have $14,000 available in the company that if you were to, pay your kids a portion of that, or maybe all, depending on how much you can afford, can the business survive with 14 less $1,000 per child? Maybe yes, maybe no, right? It always depends. So some of our clients, we help set them up for that, and we have their kids on payroll, and it helps bring their taxes down. Some of them we don't, because they just can't really afford it. And then some of them, it's also like, no, your child is 2. Like he's not gonna be a model. You guys don't sell baby clothes. No, you can't do that.
So if I get my dog like a little hard hat, can I get away with this? Or is this probably not a
uh,
good move?
what I would tell you is,
Hold on, let me turn the camera off. No, just
what we would tell you. No, record this for the IRS. We'll cover it. If you think you can do it, Corbett, it's your business. As your advisor, I would tell you this is not a good idea.
I call him job site dog sometimes, and I've thought about getting him like a little orange like
Yeah.
foreman vest. But I will say I have never thought about putting him on the payroll. But
Now, we do
yeah.
have one client who they do dog training.
See, now that's a completely different
And
situation.
and a lot of their clients, it's about training your dog to be around like your kids when you have like newborns and young kids. So for them, their kids are paid models in their company because that's exactly what they do.
Yeah.
Is like dog training videos and like how to train your dog around kids or around newborns. Around, like if you get a new dog, like how are your toddlers going to react?
That's
So
not
that
even
it
a
makes
loophole
sense.
though. That's just
Well, but
legitimate.
exactly.
That's just legit. Yeah.
Like when we met them, we're like, how are you guys not doing this?
They just didn't know.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, right? Earlier when you mentioned like, oh, hire a professional. Yes, it's expensive and all those things, but kind of, it's not the return, it's not the time taking QuickBooks, it's the 10 or 15 years to get to this point. Now we're able to help people. Kind of like you said.
I disagree. I don't even think it's expensive. I think there's a mind.
Okay.
I think there's a mind shift of like, okay, sure, you have to now pay somebody for this service, but like, okay, one thing nobody weighs correctly is the value of their time.
Yeah.
Nobody
Oh,
weighs
yeah.
it. And if
Ain't that the truth?
yeah, it's 100% true to the point where I charge $100 to come out for the estimate. Everybody else is giving free estimates. I'm like, sorry, you're gonna waste an hour of my time. It's 30 minutes each way, and then I got to spend 4 hours figuring it out while I watch TV at night instead of hanging out with my girlfriend. Guess what? That's worth $100. And if you hire me, I'll take the $100 off at the end. Once I
And
explain that to people, nobody has a problem paying me $100 to give them an estimate.
the best part about that is it smokes out the people who are tire kickers. Yeah, right. Anybody who's
100%.
because even if it's only $100, right? It's not that much. Whether it gets applied at the end or not, it's more the fact that they're serious, not
Yeah,
just curious. Well,
totally.
Corbett, I'm thinking about considering possibly maybe thinking about hiring you. No, we're
Yeah,
not doing
call me
that.
when
Like,
you figured it out.
exactly. Yeah. So and we do that as well. Like we don't really do like free calls. Very few. Like you got to be a really close friend of a friend or something.
Make
But
sure you
same
text me your
thing.
Venmo after this.
But yeah, exactly, right? Because
Anthony's gonna put it on my next bill. Like,
Damn right.
yeah, it's $100 extra. Yeah.
But yeah, it's like are you actually looking for an accountant, or you want me to verify some YouTube videos that you watched and you think
Right.
apply to you? Like,
Right.
and I get where people are coming from. I've been in that situation too, where I don't know if this is the right person for me. I don't know if I even need this service. I am just researching still. And when I see that, oh, I have to pay to talk to them, probably not there yet. And
Yeah.
that's okay. And that's a
Yeah.
good signal, because then they're not wasting their time. I'm not wasting my time. And the same thing, like for us, when people come to us like, oh, you don't have free calls? No, because that's not a good use of your time.
Yeah. I
Because then you're
even
not,
yesterday I was at a like a chamber small business expo thing.
yeah,
And I ran into somebody that I had run into like 8 months ago. And I was like, you look so familiar. He's like, yeah, you go to that RAP networking thing. I was like, yeah, yeah, Chuck. He was like, yeah, Corbett. And like literally two light
yep,
bulbs went off at the same time. And I was like, yeah, we talked about my logos and how to get them on my car, but keep them discreet and like blah, blah. And you know, because like they're not work vehicles, but I could write off
mhm,
the vinyl lettering or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh yeah, here's my cardigan, and this is what I want to do, and like maybe you could send me a mock-up. And he immediately was like, we just don't do mock-ups. If we did a free mock-up for everybody, we'd
right,
be, this many hours, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I completely understand.
yep,
If you could just text me a picture of one you did, that is a good
yeah,
example. And he was like, that I can do in
yeah,
seconds. And I was like, I'm one of the people who totally understood
yep,
where he was coming from, because it's a lot of work. And if he pays a dude salaried
right,
employee 4 hours to do a mock-up and emails it to me, and I go, thanks, and he never hears from me again,
yeah,
that employee got paid, that business made no money.
yep,
You do that 20 times, you're out of business.
hmm.
And
Oh
for
yeah, I
me,
feel
it's
you.
like, I'm in Durham. You want me to drive 40 minutes to the other side of Raleigh to measure a deck, and then spend 40 minutes to go home, and then spend 30 minutes drawing it, figuring it out, then 40 minutes on the phone with Talbert's Lumber to give them the list, have them price it out,
Yep,
double check with my carpenters to build it, double check with my painters to paint it, whatever, this, that, and the third. And you want all of that for free. And then I give you a number, and I don't even get a that's too high. I just get a no response. Like,
right,
first of all, fuck every single customer that I have texted a client to that doesn't at least write back and say
yep,
thanks. Because I have too many to count where it's like, here's the detailed estimate, because in North Carolina, texts are contracts. So it's just easier to just put it all out in a text, and there's
yeah,
the thread, and everybody said everything. And it's all like, you can use that in court if need be. I've never gotten anywhere close to anything like going to court or anything like that. But I've been like, yeah, we're doing, here's the insulation, here's the framing, blah, 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 blah. Break it down. Break it down, which between you and me, a lot of contractors don't even break it down. A lot of contractors are like, your bathroom's
that,
5,200. Do you
that's
want
what
it or
I've come
not?
to learn. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of people, I have come to learn, sadly, that when a customer responds and says, could you itemize that for me? You lost that job. You're not getting it. To
oh
which,
yeah,
and which I simply say, no, we're not doing that. We're not
yeah,
itemizing it. It's 5,200 for the bathroom. It's zero
you know.
for no bathroom.
People
And
do that with us. They'll be like, this will probably be the last story, because I know I got to get going pretty soon. I know people will come to us, and it's the same thing. Like, well, if I do my own bookkeeping, can you lower the price? If I do this, no. Like, imagine if somebody wants to, well, if I put in the deck, can you do the rest of the balcony? No. Like, that's how you kill yourself. Or, well, I need my oil change, but if I do the front tires and you do the back tires, is it a little cheaper? No, absolutely not.
it's actually
Like,
more, because now I got to double check what you did.
exactly. Yeah. So yeah, dude, I feel you. And
There's a
yeah.
famous T-shirt that I get an ad for on
Mhm.
Instagram that says carpentry rate per hour, and it says like my carpentry rate per hour.
Mhm.
Let's just I don't remember the numbers, but it's like $50 an hour. It's probably higher now, but anyway, it's $50 an hour. If you want to watch, $65 an hour. If you want to help, $125 an
Right.
hour. If you worked on it first, $200 an hour.
Right. That's
just like
so true,
just
dude.
like every part of the homeowner getting involved is just more money, more
Yep.
money, more money. And like sometimes I've built a deck with a homeowner. Actually, he was a friend first,
Hmm.
And he was like, "Hey man, if you want 6 grand, if I give you four and I'm your assistant," I was like, "Sure, whatever." Turned out
Hmm.
to be no big deal, worked out fine. But like, never again. It's
Yeah,
like,
and not
no.
not with somebody you don't know, some stranger. Yeah,
Yeah, never with a stranger. I will
absolutely.
say there's an exception if like, you know, let's say we're doing a bathroom remodel and they have their own trusted licensed insured plumber.
Hmm.
We can have a conversation
Sure,
about
yeah.
me doing everything but the plumbing.
Just like
But
us, if somebody
yeah,
has their own bookkeeper, but not the owner doing it themselves. Nope.
right. But exactly, it has to be a licensed and insured,
Yep.
capable of pulling a permit, which is a huge thing where it's like,
Yep.
oh, yeah, he's fine, but he can't pull his own permit. That means he has
So
no
he's not fine.
license. It's
So
not
he's not
happening.
fine.
Yeah, it's not on my job. Yeah. But like, there have been discussions with clients, especially with electricians, like just somebody, speaking of Anthony, somebody was like, I happen to have an electrician. They've done 10 years of work for me over the years. We want to use him to swap in the lights. I'm like, that's fine. When we're done with the plumbing and done with the HVAC,
Yeah.
he can run his wires. It's not a big deal. Make sure he can pull a permit. Whatever. That's fine. I'll deduct the electrical from my
Yep.
number.
I
No
feel
big
you.
deal. Yeah. Yeah, so not to, I don't want to keep you all day. I feel like we're vibing enough to
I
run this
know,
three
right?
hours.
We'll have to
Um,
do it again then. Well, you
that's
know what?
easy to set
Once
up.
everybody is begging for us to get back on here,
Woo!
we'll have to do it again.
I like it. I like it. Maybe we'll get Anthony in here and we'll have
I'm
three
down.
people on a Zoom. Um, and so yeah, any kind of last wrapping up. I know it's so specific to your industry. It's so specific to how much revenue you're doing. There's
Yeah.
so many specifics for me to just be like, give me some generalized tax advice. But now I'm going to say
Yeah.
it in a regular voice. Do you have any generalized tax advice
Yeah.
to wrap up for these listeners?
Yeah. What I would say is kind of like you said, hire a pro because doing QuickBooks on your own, not a good use of your time, or trying to file your own taxes. The best tax advice we can give you is have a good bookkeeper because that's where your taxes come from is your books and your numbers. But yeah, I mean, with most people, honestly, EIN, LLC, business bank account, save 20%. After that, most people, you want the home office, you want to write off your miles, your cell phone. After that, it just all kind of depends.
Mhm.
What generally I would say most people can take advantage of, hiring their kids or their spouse, probably a retirement plan, and depending on their situation, maybe an S corp. And now with us, right, we do all those things for people. But yeah, I would say, what is the line in Hitch? They don't need no pizza. You just stay right here, nice and simple.
No, yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
that's what most business owners need. And every situation is different. But yeah, that's what I would say. Probably the
Can
best thing
you
is,
write off? You mentioned phone.
Mhm.
Can you write off your internet too?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Internet, that's part of the home office. Oh yeah,
yeah, yeah.
absolutely. And yeah, could you try and do it on your own? Sure. What I would say is hire a pro. And I mean, for us, we actually, so what we're doing, this is for anybody listening and in the future, I guess, I don't know how far out, but yeah, if you go to our website, pntadvisors.com/orange hammer, we actually have a free giveaway for people. It's a 1099 contractor packet or pay packet, basically. So it's got a direct deposit form, it's got a W-9, it's got um, authorization forms for contractors, like all types of stuff. So I'd say start there and download it and, earn our trust and everything and make sure you guys like us first. But then also, I mean, message somebody because if you think you need a CPA, you probably do. You got a
Yeah, if
big
you
tax
think,
bill, you've
yeah,
been spending time doing it yourself, you're frustrated. Like, if you're thinking about hiring a CPA, like, you probably need one.
I
And of
I would
course, my
say if you're
recommendation would be us.
yeah, I would say if you're thinking about a CPA, you're probably a year behind needing your CPA. That's
I
that's kind
I
of
would
my
endorse that.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
And for listeners, website and phone number for y'all or
Yeah.
whatever the easiest contact is.
Yeah. pntadvisors.com/orange hammer, right? Special for everybody here. And then I would say that's probably the best way. You can call our office line and leave a message. I would say this, it's the least efficient way to get a hold of us, but you definitely could do it. Our office line is 515-461-8778. And we have two locations. I mean, we're all virtual, but me and one partner, JT, are here in Des Moines. Our third partner, Josh, is down in Dallas. And then we have a full-time accountant that's abroad as well. So, yeah, I mean, I would say the best way, email list, sign up for that. And there's some automated ones, and one of them is actually to book a call with us. So yeah,
Nice.
that's probably going to be the best way. And,
Nice.
people have heard us now for 2 hours, right? One of our clients was on the podcast recently, which is how you and I connected, Corbett. So I would figure anyone, if they're applying to work with us or they're applying for a call, I imagine it's signed, sealed, and delivered. It's just let us review your books first. Like that's pretty much it. Yeah. And that's a big thing is hopefully any CPA or accounting firm you talk to, and us, this is mandatory. We review your books and your returns before we hop on Zoom, right? Imagine if I said to you, hey, how much is this deck going to cost me? Well, how big is the deck? How big is your home? Well, I don't know. Then I can't quote you. Like,
Yeah.
it's impossible. Like, I literally can't. So kind of the same thing with taxes and accounting. Until we see your numbers in your books, or that's step one, then we can talk about everything else. So that's what I would say. And yeah, for us, generally, best type of client, somebody in home services, kind of like we've talked about. For us, we love people in Big Ten and SEC country. That's where we are. No, seriously. Or I guess maybe ACC country, close enough where you guys are. And yeah, for us, the biggest bang for the buck that clients get is you generally want to be making in profit at least like $80,000 or $100,000.
Okay.
Under that, we can still work with you. It's just you're not getting as much benefit tax wise, which is where we really shine. So
everybody's got a niche. So
Yeah.
you guys have carved out yours. One thing that you mentioned,
Mhm.
the E&I number, the S Corp, the LLC.
Mhm.
Can you obviously, like, I went through a legitimate lawyer. Can you assist with creating those entities, or are you just like you need to do that with your own lawyer?
We prefer not to. For existing clients, we will because it's usually just changes. Starting new entities, we generally don't.
Okay.
I'll give you two suggestions. Number one, our partner company is called CorpNet, and we use them to help with stuff that we can't sign off legally, right? Because accountants and CPAs can only sign off on certain things, lawyers have to do others. So I would say either just go directly to them, or honestly, part of the trials and tribulations of being your own business owner, maybe give it a shot. Like, go onto your EIN is very easy. Just Google IRS EIN number, takes 2 minutes. And then the state you're in, Secretary of State, LLC, and like just Google like how to file it or create it. That's what I would say. Every state's going to be different. Here in Iowa, I think it's like $50. I think some state like California is like 800. So it just depends. Yeah.
Yeah.
North Carolina, I'm going to guess a little more friendly, probably in the few $100 range, probably not too much.
It wasn't a lot of money, including the like LLC fees
Exactly.
to the state and getting a lawyer to
Yeah.
create everything, like pages of articles of organization, like everything, all in. It was like
Exactly.
a grand, and that included the lawyer
Mhm.
fee.
Yeah,
Which-
those are more like legal, not like
Yeah.
tax and accounting. That's why, like I said,
Yeah.
we prefer not to, just because of that. It's not necessarily our expertise. We know it better than the average bear, but it's not our it's not our beach ball that we knock out. I
Gotcha.
would say, yeah.
Gotcha.
But yeah, great question.
Oh. Well, this has been super fun, man. Taxes are not fun, but this was fun and it was very informative. And I think we should definitely do another episode, maybe a more focused deep dive into some like actual tax codes and how they could be applied. But I think for general small business, people like me in the trades, I mean, this is the part that sucks. You get into this because you bought some tools and you realized you love to create stuff, and then you realize that 30% of your life as a business owner is nothing to do with that kind of creation, and it really sucks. So, Drew, I really appreciate you taking the time with us. I'll shoot Anthony a thank you as well.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me on, and hopefully,
absolutely.
the goal was to give some advice and some help and some tips for people, and yeah, and they'll get even more on our email list when they sign up. Yeah, pntadvisors.com/orangehammer. That's gonna be the best place.
Awesome. And as always, the Orange Hammer and CRS Contracting, we're on all the social medias. Give a shout, give a call, 845-489-6057, corb@wsdg.com if you want to come on the show, talk about the show, give me a topic to talk about on the show, all the above, or need work inside the triangle. That's where we're at. Yeah. Drew, thanks again, man. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Corbett. Appreciate it.